Hello, nerds. Welcome back to another episode of KANODE Knows, brought to you by Dig BMX. This week on the show, we got Broc Raiford. You ever heard of him? I've known Broc for 11 years. It's amazing to see the progress he's made, and he's truly a consummate professional. I don't know if I've used that phrase in a while, but if I did, that's him. Broc is him. So he just came out with a video called Retaliate, which is an absolute slapper dapper. And the more we broke it down, the more I realized, oh my gosh, it's heavy. Every single clip, we stopped and watched it, and it's kind of sandwiched by good conversation, so I hope you guys enjoy it. But yeah, video breakdown in the middle of this, and much more. Broc is a very interesting dude, and known him for a long time, and he's the nicest person on earth. Shout out Dig, shout out Broc, shout out rawlife.com. Use promo code KANODE and get 50% off superfoods and get yourself all nice and healthy and drink that green stuff. And on a personal note, I'm excited because next week I'm going to go to California for BMX Day, so I'll see a bunch of you nerds there. That'll be cool. And then I might be staying to film Matt Ray for a bit. I'm really excited. It's been a while since I've gone on a BMX trip, so this will be fun. Aside from that, life is good. Thank you for asking. This is enough about me. This is about Broc. Let's get into it. Here's Broc Raiford. It's go time, Broc.
Sick, man.
Hi, Broc.
Hey, what's up, Bobby?
Hey, man. Just hanging out. Just finished doing a cold plunge and sauna and hot tub back and forth. That was fun. And then I ate some bison and some eggs and cheese. How you doing,
dude?
What'd you eat?
I mean, dude, I don't even know if what I just ate can compare to what you just did. I keep it old school. I had an almond butter, jelly, and banana sandwich.
Excellent, dude.
And then I had some of those Annie's cheddar squares, like the ones that they have at Whole Foods in that.
Yeah.
I got a question for you, though.
Snacks. Hit me with it.
How long do you cold plunge for?
420.
Okay.
4 minutes, 20 seconds.
Word.
And then I'll get out and I'll go in the hot tub for however long I feel like it. If I'm having a good conversation, I'll stay in there for 10 minutes. And it's so trippy. You can feel all the blood coming out from your organs and go into your extremities. And then you just hop out and get back in the cold plunge for another 2 to 3 minutes.
That's sick, man. Because it almost acts like compression for your body, right? Cold makes things shrink. Heat makes things expand. So it's almost kind of like this crazy inner full body massage. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you done it?
I've done cold plunges before, which are obviously very challenging on the mental, sitting there shivering, wanting to get out every second that ticks by. But I haven't ever done the back and forth. Only cold plunging for, I think they started me at close to what you did, around 4 minutes or so. And then as I was getting more used to them, they started adding minute by minute up until about 8 minutes.
Nice.
But apparently, I don't know a lot about this, but apparently there's something to do with going up to the navel, your belly button, and then also going up to your nipples, or going all the way up to your neck. There's different, I guess those are different levels to how good you are at challenging yourself by being freezing for so long. But yeah, it was this whole sports science thing, but no,
that's right. So did you do it
great
at a place where they did it proper with ice in a in that silver tin with ice? Because that's way gnarlier than what I'm doing. I'm doing 44 degrees, but ice is that's another ball game.
So I don't exactly know the temperature, but at Red Bull's Athlete Performance Center in Santa Monica, they have a small, it looks like a refrigerator flipped upside down type deal.
Yeah.
And
so it's a cold plunge.
Pool. Yeah. And it's completely temperature controlled. And it feels like it's negative 30 in there. That's not what it is. But dude, as soon as your feet touch it, you're already
yeah.
you know how that feels. Anybody that's listening that's ever done that knows how that feels. But it's cool to kind of challenge yourself in that way and just learn to breathe through it, and then you come out feeling like Superman.
Yeah, dude, I learned it doubles your dopamine for up to 8 hours, and so I do it 5 times a week because I do it before every podcast. I'm okay, yep, this game time. Do it. Sometimes I do it before I work out because I saw one Instagram clip where it says it boosts your testosterone, your natural testosterone, if you do a cold plunge and then weightlift, and I'm okay, deal. I'll take some extra testosterone. What's the Red Bull training, or what'd you say? Athlete Performance Center? What'd you call it?
Yeah,
that
you got it.
Awesome.
That was perfect. It's called the Athlete Performance Center. It's in Santa Monica. It's a center where Red Bull athletes can go and receive care for care in the forms of physical therapy. There's mental performance, there's strength and conditioning, there's nutrition help, loads of things. And there's all this sports science that's revolved around it. And they just offer their athletes a lot of resources to go there and to perform at their highest. And it's huge, man. I can't say enough good things about that entire facility, man. A lot of them are my friends, and they're super cool people, and they help us out a lot, you know, and whether it's hard times or if we want to get stronger or if we want to eat less chips and eat more greens, you know. So it's huge.
Dude, that's dope. I love that. At what point of being a Red Bull athlete do you get to go and do that? Because like, do the flow dudes get to come in and use that center?
Right away.
Is
so
there
pretty
flow
much
dudes for Red Bull? Or is it just you get the hat and then you're on?
I'm pretty sure that that's how it works. I know that they excuse me, they prospect you for a little bit. At least that's how things went for me, you know, like they were giving me some help throughout the years before I got the hat. And then once I got the hat, obviously I had access to all of those resources pretty much from that moment moving forward.
That's dope.
I got on in September of 2019. And then in December, I was at the Athlete Performance Center, like surrounded by other amazing athletes from every different sports avenue. And it was just so cool to like hear their stories. And yeah, it was just, I can't say enough good things, man. I mean,
how long's it been?
This is my 3rd year.
Was it?
Sorry, this is my 4th year.
I remember Terry put you on, right?
Yes,
Terry
exactly.
Terry gave you the hat. That's so sick.
Yes, that was such an incredible moment. People may have seen it on Instagram and stuff. You know, it was super emotional for me just because it was something that a goal of mine that I had set, you know, as a young rider, and to finally reach that, it was huge. And to have Terry give me that hat, someone that was my mentor, someone that had helped me out so much as a young rider, and, you know, really kind of paved the way for me on what it meant to be pro and how to handle myself. And he really just showed me the ropes amongst many other riders. But to have him give me that hat was really, really special.
Yeah, that's super special. And he's in Louisiana or what?
Yeah, he's in Hammond, Louisiana. So he's about 40-ish minutes away from where I grew up in Destrehan.
Nice. How'd you guys first meet? Was it like, oh my God, that's Terry Adams?
Yes, exactly that. Exactly that. You know, I was just a young kid riding BMX, and you know, around that time as a young rider, just all the local riders in the local scene from Baton Rouge to New Orleans to Lafayette, all of those dudes were just my idols. You know, of course I knew about like pro BMX and I would watch videos here and there, but I was so young that was just kind of like, you know, me just watching riders on screen doing crazy tricks. But like those dudes that I saw in person and got to see how they dressed and how they acted, like that was like, oh my God, like it was like I was seeing superstars, you know? So
yes,
it was cool to come through the years and go to these events and watch them ride. And then next thing I know, like, you know, as things started to progress and I was starting to gain more and more skill as a rider, these dudes started becoming my friends. So it was just like a super surreal kind of upbringing, you know, to like be looking at them and being like, oh my God, that's Terry Adams, or like, oh my God, that's Broc Gomez. Oh my God, that's Andrew Sanford. And even though maybe those are some names that people aren't familiar with, those are the dudes that like really kind of showed me what BMX was as a young rider.
I love that. Mine would be like Drew Haselton. I was like, I remember freaking the hell out when my 16-year-old birthday, or my 16th birthday, somebody brought him to the session, and I was just like, oh my God, that's Drew Haselton.
Dude, absolutely, man. Like, dude, I mean, even same, you know, I mean, granted, like I had met him when I was 18, and, you know, this might be different from, you know, your experience, but for me, like watching him and seeing his edits and seeing like his spot use and seeing how much of a staple he was to the Arizona scene, you know, much like yourself, I'm sure, you know, like even then, you know, I feel like as a rider, even to present day, you know, like I still just geek out over BMX so much, as far as like being like, oh my God, like this rider, oh my God, that guy, like it's so sick to just be kind of immersed in it. Like after I don't want to say being on the outside, but just being a young kid looking into it and now being a part of it, that part of me is like never left.
Right. Yeah. It's good to stay a fan, you know, of the sport that you're in and be stoked on everything that's coming out. I still geek out on every new drop, like your video that just came out, Jake Seeley's that just came out. What else?
Jordan's.
Yes.
Trent's.
Yes, dude. It's been a great week. Jordan and Trent last week. That was incredible.
Yeah, man. It was super cool. Yeah. Yeah. If you're listening right now and haven't watched those, man, please go take a
Yep.
chance to go take a second to go watch those videos, man, because they're all absolutely amazing and those dudes killed it. And yeah, I love seeing other dudes hard work come together.
Yeah, and shout out Grant Castelluzzo because 2 out of 4 are done by him.
That's right.
That's he's one of the hardest working filmers in BMX right now. It seems like he's just constantly doing stuff, which is pretty dope.
Dude, 100%, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we can dive into that now, but Grant is dude, he's blown me away with his work ethic and his dedication, to this project. But obviously, like when you zoom out of that and you see what he's doing as far as a filmer, like a freelance filmer,
Mm-hmm.
he was out in the van with like 4 or 5 riders filming all day, like talking about spots, like just doing everything. And it's just so sick to see that and like how much he loves it. And he kills it, man. I can't say enough good things about him. And I was just really, really stoked to have the opportunity to work with him on this product, on this
Oh yeah,
project.
on the old Retaliate. We'll get into Retaliate
Yeah,
in a
yeah.
minute. While we were on the Red Bull topic, I wanted to ask you about the airport stuff that just happened.
Mm.
Tell me about that project. How did that come up? And
Okay.
yeah,
So the airport project is called Terminal Takeover. They've done it 3 years now. It's actually a skateboarding event. I don't know if I try to like make that very clear when I post about it and stuff. It's a skateboarding event where Red Bull works closely with another skater from our region, the Delta region, called his name's Jake Wooten. He skates for Santa Cruz and Red Bull and Etnies, and he's an amazing skateboarder. And he works with Red Bull, and they kind of build ramps throughout the airport in like a really cool way. And they invite skate teams from the local region, and even I think now it's expanded to the entire US, where each skate shop puts together a team, brings their team to that airport sort of skate park scenario. And then they get, I think, 2 days or 3 days to film a video. And then after it's all said and done, those videos come out, they get voted on. And then the winning skate shop team gets a prize purse that goes towards either a revamp for their skate shop or for their local scene, which I think is like super duper cool.
yeah, that's so
And
dope.
as a rider, I just get to go and hang out with Jake. He's the homie. This past year, David Reyes was there, so it was kind of cool to kick it with him. And because he rides BMX a little bit too. And yeah,
Nice.
it's just that, man. It's just I show up to ride and hang out, and Reed Stark was there, which was cool,
Yeah,
and Brandon Gotro. So it was like awesome to session with them and just kind of be in that super surreal setting, riding bikes in an airport. That's
that's so
kind of
dope.
something like super absurd to even think about now.
For real. Every time I walk through an airport, I'm like, that's a spot, that's a spot, that's a spot that we'll never be able to ride, but you get to do it, dream come true type thing.
Yeah, it's huge, man. I mean, from jumping over the little kiosks, I think Reed posted a clip of him grinding one of the like ticket counters, like, just all of that stuff is just so cool to do as riders, because we're always looking at spots no matter where we are. So being able to, take advantage of that in this or I guess I should have spoke about this earlier, but it's in the old New Orleans airport. So there's two. There's
Yeah.
the older one, and then they share a tarmac, and then they just built a new one right across the way.
They just
And
leave the old one there or what? I'm like 3 years of this thing being abandoned.
yeah, yeah, pretty much. Well, I think in as far as my knowledge goes, I'm pretty sure they're planning on turning it into some business complex. And I do know that they still use it for like some sort of parking situation for the new airport. So that's why it stayed there.
Hmm.
And I don't know too much about like how Red Bull got in there or anything, but I'm very thankful that they did, because it's, again, I can't say enough good things about it. Like it was just crazy to, you know, have memories of flying out of that airport as a kid, from Concourse D, going to BMX events, going on BMX trips, remembering sitting down like at this specific terminal and then just being like, oh, now I'm grinding it, or now I'm like wall riding
Yeah,
the wall
dude,
like
what a
next to it.
trip.
Yeah,
That's Red Bull does dream stuff.
dude,
I
it's crazy.
makes me think so like I was talking to Chris Kyle and he's done a couple like big Red Bull projects and
Huge.
I'm racking my brain like am I slacking on remembering a Broc Red Bull project? Have you done a Red Bull specific like video project?
Yes. So my first one ever, and it happened soon after. I want to say it happened in early 2020. If I'm not mistaken. I did a project involving Red Bull and Mardi Gras.
Oh, that sounds familiar. Mardi Gras ride. Yes, dude. Okay, my bad.
No,
That
it's
was
all
that
good,
was
man.
massive in like
Yeah.
Yes, and I remember I think I hit you up and told you how awesome it was, dude.
I very much so appreciate that, man. That project was super special because, being born and raised in Louisiana, Mardi Gras is a huge part of our culture.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to build ramps amongst Mardi Gras floats and wall ride them and grind off of them and just utilize them in a super creative way was just something that was special, like it was just cool to do something new and different. And Red Bull allowed that to happen. And we filmed it like right before Mardi Gras Day and all that hit. So like we were celebrating Mardi Gras and riding these floats. And a funny
Unreal.
fact, funny fact about the whole thing is that the warehouse where they keep those floats is like a 2-minute pedal from the airport where Terminal Takeover
no
happens.
kidding. Nice.
Yeah, and that whole scene takes place 15 minutes away from the town that I grew up in. So
It's all local, dog.
yeah, both of those projects were super cool just because not only were they places that I frequent, but just like so close to home where it just kind of felt like I was cruising to the local skate park, but I was going to do these like unimaginable things, that I had the opportunity to be a part of. So I'm very thankful.
So dope. And I remember telling you that Peg's Hard 3 was so like effed. I'm gonna keep my language clean because it's Brock. I don't know why I feel like I don't want to cuss around you.
Well, I don't judge, man. I mean, I'm probably gonna drop a few F-bombs and curse a bunch on this too. So
my man.
I hope you feel comfortable to say what you want on here. And
hey, that Peg's Hard 3 in Mardi Gras was fucking sick. There we go.
Okay, there we go. Warm it up, baby.
fuck, shit. Cool.
Yeah, man.
I'm sorry that I forgot about that, dude. That's so dope. Anything else
so much
coming?
content that comes out, man. I don't expect anybody to remember a lot these days, through scrolling on Instagram, scrolling on TikTok, all these amazing videos dropping. It's a lot to kind of have all in your head at one time. So I don't really ever hold anybody accountable for remembering anything that's going on,
So you do pretty good on social media. What do you have like times of day that you post or a cadence? Like, are you trying to post every other day? Like, what's your, and like, how do you do that? Because you do a good job and it's obviously all you doing it, but what's your flow? What's your social media flow, Brock?
I try not to be too strict on it, like just because I wanted the stuff to happen super organically and not feel too like rigid, But I do try to stick to like some sort of routine, try to like post on like a Monday or a Wednesday or a Friday, sometime in the morning, just to get it out of the way, that way I'm not sort of thinking about it all day and it's like ruining sessions or anything like that. But other than that, that's pretty much it, man. I don't really like stress out too hard or anything about a posting schedule or anything like that. I know the algorithm likes that a lot. And for me, especially lately, like I feel like social media, at least for me, is something that can consume me as a rider, whether it's scrolling, looking, posting, filming, all that stuff. I've been really trying to like take a step back from how much focus I put on that in my life and just try to like really dive into experiences. And if the session's going good, like don't stop somebody else's session to give them the camera to like film a clip of you, or don't sit there like getting frustrated that you're not getting your Insta clip for the next day. Just kind of be present and enjoy the session for what it is. And if it comes, it comes. And if not, like there's always tomorrow, like, I don't know. I feel like that's definitely like a way more, I don't know, what's the word, relaxing way to go about it, just
it's a good hippie way of going about it, dude.
Yeah.
You know what, man, dude, just be here now, dude. That's real.
It's for me, it's way more fulfilling to feel that, to like be in a session, like rooting the homie on to like land his clip, and then like you celebrate with him, or maybe you're like giving the homie pointers and he's struggling and just being there for him. Like that stuff kind of gives me way more of a fulfilling feeling, throughout the sessions over time, and just being there rather than just like, oh yeah, that was sick, homie, here's my phone, film this clip for me real quick. Like that seems more transactional than it does like being present, being with the boys. And that stuff has always been super meaningful to me, but I feel like in the age of social media, we started to see some sort of divide, at least for me, in that. And I'm trying to like get myself back into that mindset of just like, no, we're here, we're hanging out, like I don't care about taking no photos. I don't care about being nose deep in my phone. I just want to hear about what Bobby KANODE's been up to, and like, like where you're at right now. Yeah, exactly. Like what's your mental like? Like I want to like feel like when we hung out, like I actually like heard from you, and like got to go back and be like, damn, Bobby's doing good. You know, if someone asks me how, you know, oh, you got to talk to Bobby, how is he? You know, and I can actually say something, not like, yeah, we just sat there and scrolled on Instagram, you know, or he filmed a clip of me and I filmed a clip of him. For me, it's cooler to be able to like be like, no, Bobby's good. You know, he's doing yoga, he's doing cold plunges. Even just the conversation we had at the beginning of this, you know, I feel like now I got something to say, you know, like I know a little bit about your life. So to me, that's something that's, I don't know. It's cool.
And that's the way to do it, dude. Just being present is like a thing that a lot of people aren't, you know, like even I find myself still, I'm just like, I'm doing something or whatever, and I'm just on my phone, and it's just, oh shit, put it down. I've been trying to get better about keeping my phone on like do not disturb for my mornings at least, you know, until 9 o'clock hits and it's like time to work, but just keep it away out of sight and just like being in the moment is the shit. So I'm glad you're doing that.
I appreciate that, man.
It's pretty easy to, I'm just picturing like, I've seen it at skate parks where dudes are just sitting next to each other, but they're on their phones and they're like basically sending each other memes or something. Like they're not even hanging out, which is wild.
Hey man, I mean, you know, like if that's how you connect with people, like that's awesome. Like I pass no judgment, you know. I mean, you know, I speak from my own personal experience and what helps me out a lot, and that's just something that I've been trying to get better at. I'm not perfect at it. You know, like you might see me scrolling on Instagram, but all I need is that nudge to be like, yo, man, like we're riding, like let's session, you know, it's just that little wake up call you need to be like, oh yeah, you know what? Like, you know, screw the internet right now. Like I want to be here present in real life, like doing the thing that I love to do with the people that I love doing it with. And I don't know, like that's been giving me such a better feeling of like fulfillment lately. And it's, I don't know, I just enjoy it a lot.
Who's your favorite homies to session with lately?
Oh, my favorite homies to session with lately, probably, you know, probably the whole Long Beach crew, man. Like it's been awesome to be around them. You know, we got Zach Kramus, we got Nick Crower, we got the Bottle Kids, Ison, Chris, Milky, Riley, Zach Mealman, Diego. I don't know if I'm forgetting somebody because there's so many of them in that house.
Bottle Kids? What'd you say? The Bottle Kids? What's that?
Yeah, the Bottle Kids. I don't quite know. I just know that that's what they associate themselves as. I assume that it's probably their version of Disco Stew. I believe they're working on a video. At the recent premiere of Full Coverage, that the video that Zach and Scott did.
Yes, so good.
I want to say that they had a premiere or not a premiere, sorry. They had a trailer. A trailer.
Nice.
They had a trailer for one of their videos. I believe it might be something that Diego's working on or something like that. And someone can fact check me on that, but I just want to give the homies some shine because I really enjoy being around those dudes. And obviously Grant, someone I've been riding with a lot, figure, you know, Zach, the Odyssey team that's local in California. And Brett Silva was just in town. So it was cool to see him. And
hell yeah.
Yeah, it's living in California is crazy. I feel like there's kind of always someone in town to hang out with and be around, amongst also being around like the local homies that you see from day to day.
Yeah. What about location? What's your go-to spot or skate park to meet up and ride?
Oh, that's a tough one, man. I would have to say my go-to location here in Long Beach, where I'm at right now, is MLK Skate Park, or McBride Skate Park is the official name, but the street term is MLK Skate Park. It's the one with like the big LBC on the bank.
Yep.
That's home. That's home for sure.
I love that. You've done some stuff there. You've definitely done all the tricks there, and I've seen them all.
I love that park a lot, man. You know, definitely always sessioning there. There's a squad of good kids that session there often. So it's just cool to be around that. And, you know, when I'm back home in Louisiana, home for me is Parasite Skate Park, which is like the local DIY park that had been built and torn down and built and torn down. Then it finally got, I don't know if this is the right word, by like approved or sanctioned by the city to actually be a set in stone skate park. So they built off of that over the past few years. And now it's kind of this cool zone where there's concrete stuff. And then there's all these movable objects to like put setups together, and I really enjoy riding there too when I'm at home. So those would definitely be my two number one places to ride.
I love that. Yeah, that place, the DIY spot, when I see clips of that, I'm like, that looks so fun, dude. And is Louisiana that far from me? Or is it on the other side of Texas? What's geography?
Yes, it's so I believe
east of Texas, right?
Going from me, I believe it goes me to Phoenix to Albuquerque to Texas, El Paso, San Antonio. I think you might go through like I don't know. I think you have an option to go through like Austin or some shit, and then Austin to Louisiana. But it's quite the drive, man. Texas
Yeah,
is big.
seems like
Texas
it.
is
Yeah,
real
Texas is
big,
big.
dude. When we drove out here, I've done it twice. Like I've done the back and forth, or sorry, I've done back and forth each once. So in my head, I was thinking twice, but I drove out here to move out here. And then I think a couple of years later, I went all the way back to Texas Toast by driving.
Mm-hmm.
And then my homies from Louisiana drove, and then I went back to Louisiana with them. And
Nice.
getting through
Jeez,
Texas
that's
is
a journey.
tough.
Yeah.
So tough.
I remember that drive from here to Texas Toast was 16 hours or something like that. And Nora Cup happened, and we probably were at the same toast.
That was that same year.
Yeah.
That was that same year.
That's rad. How did we meet? Thinking back on memories. Do you remember how we met?
Oh yeah. We met on my first ever volume trip. It was in 2012, I believe, because I actually graduated high school the day before I flew out I flew out to California first, got picked up by Joey Cobbs, brought me to the what was it, 180 distro where Volume and Demo were distroed from, met Castillo, hung out with a few riders there, and then we zipped over to Arizona to stay with Drew with like Mike Mastroni, Joey, of course. I think Maddie Long was in there, and I want to say Mike Jonas.
Your memory is on point, dude. Yes, that sounds exactly right.
I mean, granted, I did research. I did some research. I went back and looked at photos and like put together what I could. But and then that next day we were at that the baseball rails on top of ledges spot.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe you met up there with us with Eric Ballman, and you guys were like working on a video yourselves, and I got to meet both of you there at the time for my first time ever.
Wow. Memory blast. That's awesome.
Yeah, I got this too. Because of the research that I did, I actually went and found this, and I believe this was a year later, but I mean, this is way back on my Instagram, giving you a shout out on my Instagram.
Yes, dude.
Go follow Bobby KANODE. So,
I remember the feeling that gave me of Broc put me on his Instagram. That's awesome, dude. Like,
of
so
course,
cool.
man.
Yeah.
It was so cool to feel like the love and welcome from you and everybody in the Arizona scene, especially just because that was my first full immersive experience of being a part of a team. Beyond being on Colony before that, like they took me on a trip to California as well for my first time, and like that was super sick and all that stuff, but it was kind of just like a one-off thing where they came to America and we did everything with them. But like this was like, got to go to the warehouse, got picked up, shoot photos with Joey, like everything happening at once. And then meeting you, it was just, man, official. I was so hyped up. Yeah,
it's so sick. How did Volume come about, by the way?
So I was on Colony for a couple years leading up to 2012 when I got the call. The first call I got was from Chris Long, Maddie Long's older brother.
Yep.
And him and I had a couple conversations just casually about like what I was up to, what I was working on, my plans for the upcoming summer and things like that. And I guess those phone calls kind of continued over time, at least from my memory, maybe like one or two more. And then I ended up talking to Castillo on the phone. And then the very next call was Chris calling me to make me an offer to ride for Volume Pro.
Nice.
And as a young kid working as an IT for the local school district, a senior in high school, I was like, absolutely,
Sick. And yeah.
Nothing against Colony. They were an awesome brand. My first sponsor, obviously that's so meaningful to me, but all in all, they were based in Australia and they were kind of at that time focusing a lot on what they were doing in Australia.
Right.
So, for me, like I wanted to always get out there, but being a young kid, not being able to, afford going there and stuff, like it just seemed to make a little bit more sense for me to switch over to Volume with the offer that they made me. And I was super, super hyped on that decision.
Boom. That's solid. I love that. Oh man, so I guess linearly, what happens after that? Because I've been, following you the whole time, but I'm trying to recall like when Sunday came into the picture. Was there anything in between Volume and Sunday?
Nope. So it was just Volume happened, and then I would believe around that time, or even before that. Sorry, I was getting hooked up by Odyssey from the jump. I had been with them since day one.
Nice.
As far as like meaning like haven't switched sponsors or anything. I believe that came pretty early on. Like I was like in my early teens. I don't exactly have a year or something, but it's getting close to like probably like 10 years that I've been with Odyssey. With Odyssey, maybe even longer than that. But anyways, yeah. And then I was with Volume in 2012, and then with them for multiple years. And then in 2019, at the end of 2019, I switched over to Sunday going into 2020. So
Sick.
I ended my Volume contract at the end of 2019 and then got on Sunday moving forward from 2020 onward. And it's been amazing. You know, I have nothing but great things to say about Volume and everything that they gave to me, but it was just time for me to switch things up. And just being under the entire full factory umbrella has just been an amazing experience. Everybody that works there is my friend, and getting to work with Zach full time is so sick. I mean,
God, we love Kramus, dude.
we all know that he's an amazing filmer and an even better bike rider and human being. And again, another dude that I could just say so many great things about and just sit here and list them out to you. And Zach knows I appreciate him, but dude, he's the man. And
he really
go watch
is.
his video. Go watch full coverage of
it's so
Zach
good,
and Scott.
dude.
Yep,
Yeah.
so good.
My favorite clip is Scott doing the feeble to 180 backwards ice around the corner of that ledge. I screamed when I saw it. I was like, dude, it's so good.
Absolutely. I believe a lot of people can relate to that at the premiere, man. We all, you know, jumped out of our seats, like yelling about that one. And, you know, even just all the cool clips of Zach as well, you know, like it was just cool to like see them both like on the other side of the camera doing their thing. Like they're two spot use gods. And oh yeah, it was so sick, especially just being there, like celebrating them at the premiere. You know, I feel like
special,
that was super
dude.
special.
I wish I could have been there. That's there's nothing better than video premieres, in my opinion. Like that's what makes what we do. It's like it all pays off that night, and it's just like, yes, let's go.
Absolutely. You got the homies there, you know, like everybody's having a good time, getting involved in whatever they like to get involved in.
Yeah,
you know, like
no judgment here. No judgment here.
Exactly, man. They're doing their thing, you know, everybody's just having a good time. And then you get to root the homies on, you know, like I think that's super special, is to be there and like show support for whether it's events or your homies premiere. Like this is something that I took away from Matt Clausen's KANODE Knows podcast, was that him and Reed made that agreement to just show up. Like I think that's so sick. And I think, you know, everybody should follow suit in that, you know, in BMX, is to just show up and support, because the more that we push this forward, the bigger it gets, and the just more enjoyable it is, you know, like to support each other and show the homie love. And that was something that was super cool to hear Matt say. And I firmly agree with everything that he said.
Right, dude. It made me feel bad. Like, man, I need to go to every single BMX event, dude. That's amazing. And he's working a full-time job too. Like, no excuses. Matt Clausen shows up. Reed Start shows up.
We all got to show up, baby.
Yeah. Makes me want to go show up for something right now.
You're showing up right now, dude. You're here.
That's true. Yeah. You know, Sunday afternoon, it's 116 degrees out, so I'm not missing shit. Nobody's doing anything right now. It is miserable.
That the real temperature reading outside?
Yes. Today's the first real hot one. Let's see. Officially 111, but the high is 116.
Wow. So that makes sense why you were mentioning that you were going to get a session this morning. You got to get it in before it heats up a lot, huh?
Which I didn't, you know, but
it happens, man. Life happens in
last
weird
Sunday
ways.
Was good. We got out early and then rode until it gets like stupid hot. My body won't warm up until, you know, 10 or 11, and all the dudes, we meet up at like 6:37, and I'm just not able to ride. Like I need to, you know, get going, and then it takes a while, and then by the time I'm ready to try a trick, it is midday. It's like, all right, let's go, you know.
Here we go. We're about to fight the
heat,
good fight.
Baby, I feel bad for whoever's filming me. Last Sunday it was Eric and Chadwick taking turns as I was trying this dumb tech trick for a while. But it's just midday, dude. Everybody's burning up. Arizona, dude. I'm gonna get out of here July 15th. I'm coming out to California. BMX Day weekend.
Yes, absolutely.
That's gonna be a good one.
I'm planning on making it out there for that, man. Come hang out, see some familiar faces, and just, you know, show up, baby.
Show up, baby. That's it. I'm gonna finally show up.
Bobby's showing up, dude. That's awesome, man. Dude, I hear you about the heat, you know, like growing up in southern Louisiana. It's a different type of heat for us, but man, like the humidity and I guess we have to focus on the heat index. So for us, it might show that it's 96 degrees out. And, you know, I mean, for you battling 111, you know, you'd be like, 96 is bearable. You know, we can get down with that. But then the humidity adds to that. So you have to look at the heat index, or like the feels like bar, because it'll be something similar to you guys. Like, you know, like it'll be like possibly in like 106, 107, 110, and you're drenched in sweat in seconds. It's humid. You feel like you're wearing a wet blanket.
Yeah, I don't miss that. I lived in Orlando for a summer, so I have a taste of what that's like, dude. That is miserable. That's I wouldn't trade it. I'll take the dry heat any day.
Yeah, you'll take the dry heat over that one.
Oh yeah, the humidity is gross. It's crazy. Riding bikes in that too, like you have to wear gloves or something. Like, how do you ride in that?
Dude, I usually like shed clothing up until I, like can't. Like I'm usually just in shorts or pants and I'm shirtless, but I'll easily sweat through a pair of pants. I usually, some people call it the swag rag, like the rag in your back pocket so you can wipe your hands off, because like the crazy thing that you don't think about is like if you're sweating profusely and your arms are down riding, sweat will like run down your arms, and then like exactly what you said, like you almost need gloves, because it's not like your hands are sweating that hard, but it's like your grips are like wet. So like you're constantly having to wipe your hands off, and staying hydrated. I'm sure that's huge for you guys too, because I'm really susceptible to getting like dehydrated and overheated like really fast, where I get like gnarly migraines.
I believe it, man. It's well, now you live in perfect weather in Long Beach, so it's good. What is it outside there right now, just so I can be jealous?
Oh, let's check. Let me look it up on the phone real quick. Let's see what we're looking at. It's currently 76.
Wow.
Sunny.
Hey, screw you. I'm coming out there. I'll see you. I'll see you shortly.
Let's look at Louisiana. Let's look at Destrehan just for context. Okay, so for example, it's about to start raining. Typical. 93. But then let's look at the index, or where does it say the humidity? Feels like 100. So that's often like what we'll get is it'll say 93 degrees, and then if you scroll down to like the little like widget on the iPhone, it'll say feels like, and that's like the humidity is making it feel hotter. Yikes. It's 55% humidity.
Dude, no thank you. No thank you on the humidity, man. Well, you're a trooper for, like, did you race as a kid or what? We don't have to go over your whole story. I feel like you've covered that in other podcasts, but were you a racer as a kid?
I did. Okay. Not like a lot of these other guys though. Like I know like LaShawn has a crazy racing background, Chad, Dennis. I'm sure a lot of other dudes that I'm missing right now, but I didn't race to that level. I was like super local racing series. And I want to say I might've raced maybe 5 times. And like the first time I raced, I got a second. The second time I raced, I got a third. And as a young kid, the last race I got a first. And then I was like, okay, I completed it. Like I got, and I was young, like super duper young. And I was like, okay, like I got all the trophies. And then literally in my head just turned off the racing, and then moved on to riding dirt bikes, skateboarding and things like that. And then I was kind of entertaining the idea of racing dirt bikes, going from BMX racing to dirt bike racing, seeing if there was any connection there. But then I just ended up being totally immersed in BMX freestyle.
What was your first taste of BMX freestyle?
Probably being at the dirt bike track and bringing my bike with me, because when you go to a dirt bike track, like you take breaks in between motos, or maybe they'll let the big fast guys go, and then they'll let the medium fast guys go, and then they'll let the kids go. Mm-hmm. So there's time in between each time you get to ride. So I would bring my BMX bike and ride in the parking lot. And my first taste was, or at least as far back as I can remember, is being in the little dirt lot where you park at a dirt bike track, and like some kids had like molded up some like jumps on like the side of the track, and I was just like, oh, sick. And like we were jumping that, just basically doing what BMX is, bicycle motocross, like mimicking dirt bikes. And then from that point forward, I was pretty hooked on pretty much jumping at the time. Like I wasn't really like too familiar with like what tricks were, so I was just wanting to jump everything.
Nice, dude. And it's like it's fun to see when it's shown your ability for jumping, because it is good. You're a good all around rider. It's incredible. But you can kind of not forget it, but what you do in the streets, you're not riding dirt jumps in the streets. Like, what I'm curious about, Broc? You're so damn good at the pegs hard 3 and the pegs over hard 3. Why? Why are you so good at that?
Well, thank you for all the positive comments. I really appreciate that. I don't, or actually, let me start from the beginning. I kind of just always rode everything, as a young kid. I was jumping, and then that turned into, me wanting to jump box jumps and then ride quarter pipes. And then that turned into grinding rails. And there was just this, like that little kid spastic mind space where you're just like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to skate and then I'm going to be over here riding. And then that was just it. I just totally just let myself do that. And I think that's often what I think back to, how I kind of created skill in each discipline of BMX, it was just like, oh, I'm gonna ride dirt jumps, and then, oh, I don't want to ride dirt jumps anymore, handrail, ride that, and that was just kind of it for me. And then I don't know that any of that has any tie to the Pegs Over Hard 3. I just remember the first one I ever did was in a video that I filmed with Francis Castro, and it just the Pegs Over Hard 3.
Yeah.
Speaking on, it just felt like it just worked in my mind. And then from that point forward, I guess it locked in exactly where I needed to be to spin over it. And from that point forward, it was just kind of like a staple to me that I felt like it was a card in my back pocket that I could pull out whenever I needed it, versus being like, oh, well, we'll see how this goes.
Yeah. I hope I land this,
Yeah. And, and obviously it came with practice and learning and stuff. I'm not saying it was just boop, Pegs Over Hard 3, but I really don't have any further knowledge of I was just always, and this is me joking, I was just always so good at 360s and I was always so good at overpegs. That wasn't it. It was just kind of wow, that worked. And that made so much sense. And it kind of burned itself into my brain that this is the position you need to be in and the right lean, and to where I would be able to apply it to more spots going into the future.
Yeah. Dope. Another trick question I have is, I guess hops. I still remember when you were 19 or 18 and you came out to Arizona. I was blown away by how high you could hop, and the fact that do you remember nose manualing that fountain at ASU?
Of course.
The fact that you could hop into a nose manual that high, I was like, dude, wow. And just was that, how do you get good at hops, Brock?
That
by doing it a lot.
Yes, of course, practice. That's what I tell everybody. A lot of people actually reach out with that question. How do you hop higher? How do I get more pop? And obviously it comes with practice and just really, really burning it into your brain with getting comfortable with the hopping technique.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately for me, where all of my love for the high hop or the bunny hop came from was as a young kid, throughout everything we've talked about, I lived in a I guess you would say suburban town outside of the city of New Orleans. And there wasn't really much bike riders. Some kids would get bikes and some wouldn't, but ultimately I was riding by myself pretty often. And so I would just have to entertain myself in any way that I could when I found myself losing interest in trying to feeble 180 or learn how to ice pick, so in the interim between those learning experiences, I would just stack trash cans or find anything that was that next height that I couldn't do, and I would just try it over and over and over again and knock it down and knock it down and knock it down until I figured out how to sort of manipulate the hop and my bike to get myself over that next object. And then eventually I got so comfortable with it that the stronger I got, the more I applied those skills that I had previously learned, I could just be like, oh, I think I got that. I think I can get over that. And then next thing I know, I was doing it quicker than the time before. It might have taken days to get over that trash can, where the next time I tried it, it might have been one day or maybe a couple hours or something.
Dude, and then in a blink of an eye, you're winning bunny hop contests at BMX contests around the world, That's so sick. That's actually really, it's almost inspiring because it's so pure. I remember those memories too, of just setting something up and trying to bunny hop over it, that's very pure.
Exactly. And it doesn't take too much thought, where I feel those times when you're trying to, I remember as a young kid trying to learn how to feeble 180, or again, I'll use the same example, ice pick grind, you're oh, I got to lock in and I got to lean and kind of manual it a little bit to stay in the position, versus hopping over something. It's very basic, here's the thing I'm hopping over. I'm going to pull up, try to squeeze my bike up against me and hope I go over it, and I had an old video camera that I would film myself riding, so I could go back and watch it real quick and be oh, that's what I'm doing wrong. And that's how I kind of learned to teach myself when I was riding alone.
Perfect, yeah.
And yeah, I would say that's the story that I tell everybody, that's what it was me, how I got to the skill of hopping to where I'm at now, was having that everything that I just explained as kind of the base level, and then applying that over the years and gaining confidence and practice and all that stuff, it definitely didn't happen overnight.
Was it on tapes or a digital camera?
It was a digital camera. It was like a little
Nice.
handy cam. I actually made some like really early videos using like Windows Movie Maker with it, of like my homies and stuff. And
Damn, I wish I could see them. That's fire.
I don't know if they still exist. They might be on Vimeo somewhere. I would have to go dig for it and see. But yeah, they're definitely really, you can tell, just from what I can remember, they were very immature, like it would be like riding, and then it would be like my friend's butt, like just something like, comical like that. But yeah, man. And I would just use that little camera and just film, try a couple times, go back, watch, be like, oh, I'm casing it because I'm doing this, and then eventually that rolled over into learning other tricks, like filming myself trying to do this and that. And it helped because I didn't have someone there to give me that insight that I needed. Obviously I had my mom, my dad, my little sister, but I'm gonna be like, Mom, how do I ice pick?
Yeah.
So
she's like, lean back, son.
Yeah, exactly. You backflip.
It's pretty interesting to think about how integrated, filming and what we do is, like, from day one, like you're filming yourself and getting better. So the camera's just always been around. And now that you're a professional, the camera is around big time, and red cameras and Mardi Gras, Red Bull cameras. It's pretty rad.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. I mean, granted, and I don't want to sound like I have too much experience with cameras. Like what I had was like you plug a cord into the camera, you plug it into the computer, Windows Movie Maker. And then it wasn't till like later on down the road, I would say in like the, maybe like 2008-ish to the 2012 era, when I like started meeting friends with cameras like VXs and DVXs, and they started filming me, and I started to like learn a little bit more about like what went into like actually like filming. And then of course being part of these sponsorships, whether it's Colony or Volume, that's when I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Mastroni taking out the whale eye. You're like, dude, what is that thing? It looks so easy to break that.
Have you ever hit Mastroni's camera?
No. He's gotten close. Even with Grant though, and Grant doesn't have the whale eye. I've gotten close. I mean, in the trailer of the video and the beginning of the video, Grant's like swinging out of the way because my body's hurling at him or my bike. And I always feel bad in those situations because like you're falling and I'm just like staring at the person like, dude, please move out the way.
Gravity's winning, dude. Shit.
Guard your lens.
In the Jordan one, the first clip did hit the lens. Am I right?
I believe so. Yeah. If Grant can fact check me on this, but I believe Grant went through a few lenses in the past year, 2 years of people hitting them or things just happening to him, and he's still out there getting it, man. Every time he's like, I'm like, what's next? He's like, got another one on order right now, and I was like, dude, you're the man.
That's how you do it.
Dude,
I'm still incredible. Thinking of you as a kid. Are you happy that you learned grinds on the left side and then later on the right side?
This is my favorite conversation.
How many times have you had this conversation?
So many times. So many times. But I love it. I love it because exactly we've had a good conversation leading up to this that I can kind of share examples.
Yeah.
So going back to me filming myself and like learning tricks in an early age as a young kid, speaking of the feeble 180, that was a trick that I was trying to learn that made me switch my pegs.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
So, right foot forward, spin to the left. All that's fine. No goofy spinning there.
Yep. No funny business here.
Yeah, no funny business yet. So pump the brakes, kids. I was feebling and I was trying to 180 and I was doing feeble hard. And when I would go back to watch, I would be like, oh, my tire's hitting the ledge. This is why I can't do it. And my immature mind was like, well, if I put my pegs on the other side and I learn to feeble that way and I turn left to 180, which is now feeble easy, tire doesn't hit.
Yeah.
Boom, new trick.
Boom, new trick.
Young kid was like, yo, I'm learning this new trick and not really knowing that there was a regular and opposite grind side, or not even really putting any thought into it. I was just like, oh, this is what I'm going to run with. And, over time, that's just what I did, and it wasn't until later in life when I was like really stuck on that side that I learned like, oh shit, like I'm a goofy grinder,
Yeah. Oops.
Yeah.
Am
So
I
then,
goofy?
yeah, exactly. So then that rolls into me getting on volume and getting into the van all the time with Biz Jordan and Jason Enns,
Oh boy.
two legends.
Yeah.
Love those guys so much. But man, was I the target all the time in the
Yeah,
van.
I
I was
believe it.
always getting cracked on, like those who's always spitting jokes. And I was holding my own and firing back, young me trying to like offend them in any way. They would say something about, oh yeah, that's why you grind on the wrong side, and be like, you know what? You're old. Like trying to do anything to get him back. And also being a little bashful because I was, of course, like the young new kid. And
Yeah,
these are two legends, like there's just a very crazy thing going or dynamic going on there. But
that's fun.
over time of them just you know talking shit to me, I was like, you know what, fuck it. And then I just started learning how to grind on the right side dominantly. Like I would go to the park and take my left pegs off and just only have right pegs, and then just grind that way all day. Every trick in the book that I knew how to do, I would just try it over and over and over and over again until like it kind of got burned in my brain to ride that way more. And my brain started to think, oh, grind it on this side versus the other side. And I'm actually super thankful for that, because once I went through that whole sort of learning process of getting myself to feel real comfortable on the right side, then both were really comfortable.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then I like to feel like they kind of created like monster inside of me type deal, where I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
they
y'all want to
did.
talk smack on me grinding on the left. Now I can grind on the right too. So which side do you want it on, Jason and Biz? I mean, that's jokes,
Oh, that's
man. Like
great, dude.
I love those dudes so much. And I am very thankful, for those experiences with them. And it
Yeah,
was all
big
in good
time.
fun. And I'm thankful for that situation, because they showed me what was the right way. Because up until that point, I was just like, this is what I do. I got 4 pegs. I'm gonna grind on the left. And not that there's anything wrong at all with being goofy, but for me, for whatever reason, I just got so fed up at 18
The
years old,
hazing, yeah.
yeah, getting hazed, that I was like, you know what? Here we go. We gonna learn how to grind on the right.
Hell yeah. So that's so, I think that's so important. Like having that experience of them, making fun of you shapes who you are now. And like being in the car with legends when you're 18 years old is like an experience you can't really ask for. That's so good. Are you paying it forward? Who's the young kids on the teams now that you might be the legend talking shit to? If at all. I don't think you're, maybe you are. I don't know. Are you talking shit to the young kids? And
I
if so,
mean,
who are they?
I don't really consider myself as a legend, like if anything, I just want to offer guidance to the younger generations and like really help them through the experiences that I've had, in hopes that like they can kind of get going with those things maybe sooner than I had. That way they can find themselves in an even better spot than I'm in.
So just
And
nice, friendly advice, no shit talking.
oh, don't wait. Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely like to poke fun at them, a little bit. I don't know if it was at the level that I got from Biz and Jason, just
Yeah,
because,
they
you
seem
know,
ruthless, dude.
yeah, exactly. They were pretty ruthless, and they put it on me. They brought the heat every day,
Yeah.
and for me, I maybe, and nothing against Biz and Jason, but I'm not that type of person to where, like I'll poke a little fun or I'll tease them a little bit. But for me, I'm just trying to keep those dudes stoked. And I don't know, just, again, share knowledge with them that I learned, or maybe things that I struggled with that I can help kind of, maybe, I don't want to say prevent them from doing, but give them the knowledge to maybe make a decision for themselves that might keep them from making a bad decision like I did throughout the time that I was coming up as a rider.
Yep. Well, newsflash, by the way, you are a legend. Sorry. Um, but who's like your underling if you had if you who's your understudy if you had one if
Who's
you had
my
to pick one?
understudy? I don't necessarily wouldn't
Understudy,
say that.
such a
Yeah,
weird word, dude. Just
yeah.
who's
I
the
don't
homie
know
you're
if
looking
there's.
out for?
Yeah, I would say the young homie that I've been around the most as of lately is definitely Mikey Andrew.
Oh yeah,
Um,
Milky.
yeah, that
That
dude
boy.
rules, man. He's got his own style. He utilizes spots real well. He's motivated, and he's that young kid that's got that fire in him. And
Yeah.
he's fun to hang out with. He's down to chop it up, maybe talk a little shit to each other, but ultimately, like I want that kid to do really well for himself. And I would say him. Chris Gonzalez, also known as Speedy G,
Yep.
young guy that I really, really enjoyed being around, who's again, a great person that to talk to and just be around, because like he's someone that definitely helped me kind of be more present, because he's always that dude. Like he just
Nice.
wants to talk and hear about you and actually like ask about your day. Like we were at that full coverage premiere and he was talking to my dad for probably like 30-40 minutes. And like my
Hell
dad's
yeah.
like, dude, that Speedy G dude's pretty cool, man. I learned a lot about him. I was like, yeah, dude, that's the shit, man. So I would
That's
say
dope.
those are two young guys around here that are definitely dudes that I try to like look out for and just share guidance with them anytime I can. But really anybody, if you're a young kid like looking for guidance, like my door's open. Like I definitely want to like extend that to as much of the BMX scene and community as I can, because if something that I experienced that I can offer to somebody and like help them better themselves or reach that next goal that they want to reach, like I'll do that time and time again, because like I believe that like that's how we keep the shit going. Is
Mm-hmm.
not gatekeeping and being like, nah, I'm not gonna tell you, or you got to figure that out for yourself. Like for me, it's just like I want to help homies succeed. I want to help homies not get behind on taxes, even as boring as that shit is. Like I want to help homies like figure that stuff out, and whatever it is, like at least offer some sort of guidance that maybe I've experienced, or help them seek it. Like
Yeah.
I we just got to support each other, man. I think that's huge.
Did you end up getting behind on taxes at one point?
No, not necessarily that, but I just never knew how to do them myself as an independent contractor. It's what I
Yeah.
file as. I feel like probably a lot of us do, and
Yep.
most of the people listening to this do. So for a while, I think, as a super young kid, like the time that I was making money when I first went pro, my mom had someone doing it for me. I don't even know if I was making enough at the time to even like
Yeah.
have to file.
Yeah.
But I would say in my early 20s, like I was trying to navigate it. Everybody had a homie, like, oh, this dude will do it for you, and that person will do it for you. And ultimately, for me, and this is probably such a snore fest for the people listening, but for me, I just went out and learned myself on like what deductions that I can do by asking other riders and listening to other independent contractors on YouTube or podcasts, like what deductions they do and how to use expense things and all that
Yep.
boring crap that goes into it. Even though it sucks to learn, like it really is huge. Like once you take that step to becoming a pro rider, it's something that you could sleep on, that later on down the road could really like screw you over from possibly like living that comfortable life that you want for yourself, and you end up in a situation where you might be owing the IRS a lot of money.
Which I did, dude. When I worked for Sabrosa, I didn't understand being an independent contractor at all. And 4 years later, I was like, because every year it came around and I was just like, nah, I'll deal with it later, file an extension, and then forgot about it. And then 4 years go by and I look and I'm like, oh, I owe $15,000 to the IRS. Like, shucks. Dude.
Yeah, man. And so like
Oops.
that, yeah, again, and I know this is probably not what people came on here to listen to, but at the same time, man, like again, if I could offer, because I'm not a tax professional, I'm still figuring it out this year today. But for me, if there's something that I can offer, obviously Mikey's pro now, like if I could offer him the help to be like, hey, dude, like listen, you just make sure you write this down or keep these receipts or whatever, like
Mm-hmm.
I will gladly give that information to anybody, just so I can keep them from possibly ending up in a shitty situation, because you never know like what they're using that money for. If they do have to owe the IRS a lot of money, that might force them to stop riding and have to go get a job to pay off that debt.
Yeah.
And I would
Get an
never
end
want
due.
that for
Yeah.
anybody. So that's again a thing that I would want to open to extend my knowledge to anybody that wants to reach out about talking about that stuff, even as boring as it is. But yeah, we
It's
could.
this is it. It could be boring, but honestly, the more that you experience everything, it kind of. I think more people are into hearing about that than you might expect. But anyway, it's that whole story being like coming. It's just interesting to think about your journey from being the 18-year-old in the van with Biz and Ryan, or Biz and Jason, and then now you're the elder giving the advice, which is pretty dope. It's pretty cool to see. It's
Yeah,
and I got to watch the whole time, through the
it,
phone, but
dude,
still.
it's surreal, man. From being in the van, even others, like collecting so much information from Biz, Jason, Tate, Lil D Martinez, Raban,
Damn,
Drew.
dude. Yes, the OGs.
Yeah, everybody, Alex Platt. um Dang, who am I missing? Just the whole volume team at the time just offered me so much guidance and so much help. And and even just still being around Mastroni at that time, you know, Sean Moore was in the van because Mike was also freelance filming. So just all the riders that jumped in the van when I was there, was just super thankful to like have them be kind of those mentors for me beyond the ones that I had in Louisiana that helped me out so much too. So it was just really cool to have those people kind of share their experiences with me. And again, that's why I want to be able to give that back to the next generation as well. Pay it forward.
You're a good dude, Broc. You're a good guy, Broc. Speaking of being a good guy, you're pretty good on the bike too. Let's check out your Retaliate part.
All right, let's get into that.
Let's you want to talk about it?
I would love to talk about it.
All right. Let's make sure we're there, and we'll see how this turns out. But it's Zoom, baby. Let's go.
All right. Do you want me to just tell you when to pause when there's like a moment we can talk
Yeah, sure.
about? Say
the bail on that is amazing.
The tightrope walk.
Yeah, the tightrope walk.
We can talk about this.
Yeah.
That's super crazy. I talked about this in the Digger interview too, that Fred helped me put out. Shout out to him for putting that all together, that went live over the weekend. But this dude, so we were filming the manual 180 clip on the pad, kind of over the flat, over the 3 stair. And I'm trying it and trying to like get myself just to send the manual across the whole thing. And we're in this park. The park's pretty active, a lot of things going on already. And we just see smoke kind of coming out crazy from a trash can, and no one's around it. And then all of a sudden, this dude right here just like pops out of nowhere, like spawns in. And he's like yelling all this like inaudible language and like doing this like crazy like seance praise of the fire. You know, and it was just such a crazy moment. And the next thing I know, Grant's like walking over there to go get the B-roll of it or get a clip of it. And I was like, dude, that's going to make like such good B-roll for whatever you use that for, you know? And
yeah.
Here it is in the video. And come to find out, this dude had made his way down the street, just creating trash can fires the whole way. Like a couple of the homies, like to the left, all right, I guess this is flipped, but to this guy's left is like a little like burger joint, I think. And a couple of the homies went over to get food, and everybody was saying that like there's just like been fires down the whole street that this dude has started, and he just lights it up, does his little dance, does his seance, praises the fire, and then gets the hell out of there. So that was kind of a crazy thing.
That's his version of church, you know?
Yeah, mid-clip too, you know, and we had to like get ourselves back honed in, like, all right, like let's get back at the zone. And then luckily we walked away with the
That's what's up.
With the clip.
Dude, sometimes that helps, like just creating a little break and like trying something that's like get your mind off of it for a second, and then okay, zero back in and you're locked in.
Absolutely.
Well, shout out to this guy. Pretty good back bend.
Yeah, right. Flexibility. Yeah, as we talked about, me almost hitting Grant or falling on Grant.
Right there. Hell of a clip to open it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about that one. That was one of the clips. Throughout the filming process, you know, it was kind of pretty loose, being that Grant is freelancing and filming with so many people all the time. You know, like it was very hard to get like clip or like spot focused days in, because like you as a freelance filmer, you want to go to spots that everybody can ride. That way you can walk away with multiple clips for each project, right? And so this day specifically was a day where I was like, hey, like I got this spot that I really want to do this bar gap ice on. And, you know, like luckily we still had a packed van, but that day he was like, yeah, we're going to go crush this out real quick, and then we'll go to all these spots. So it was super cool to get that clip done. And I thought it was a really good clip to open up with, just with like the song and like how he like put the slow-mo on it. Like I really like how Grant did that, showing like emphasis to the clip by like having it match up with the song super well.
Little riff on the bar spin is so good. Was that like multiple tries or just one bang?
It was multiple tries. Getting myself to obviously commit to the bar spin was tough. And then beyond that, we could probably talk about this throughout the entire video, but I am very particular about my clips. And so I actually bar iced it probably 2 times after the first, like 2 times after, trying to get more of the rail, like get more of an ice pick.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like where like you dance with fire, because like you get yourself to try it and do it. But then I go back and watch the clip and I was like, oh, I think I can like get on a little bit earlier, which in turn means going slower, popping higher, you know, to where like you really start like that dance of like, I could get burned here. And luckily we walked away with a clip that I was super hyped on.
Love it. It's a great spot.
It's a very popular skateboarding spot.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay,
a lot of the spots that I ride and like to ride are usually found in a lot of skate videos. I find myself watching skate videos just as much as riding videos, just trying to pull inspiration from anywhere that I can. And this is one of them that probably a lot of people that follow skating and riding will recognize this spot.
dude, why can't I see you anymore? Can you see me?
Yes, I can see us in the right corner, and then I can see the video as it was before.
All right, cool. Well, if everything's normal for you, it's normal for me.
Yeah.
I love this one too.
Yeah, this one was pretty, I wouldn't want to say hard, but I definitely had to get creative here just because that's a spot that's been absolutely destroyed over the years. It's a weekday spot, and so many riders have come through the spot and absolutely murdered it. And being that, again, Grant's always, you can see Grant's bike in the background, and there was a couple of riders also with us this day. So just making sure not to take up too much time and sponge up the camera time from the other riders and stuff like that, but also trying to be creative on these spots to allow myself to get a clip just like everybody else is definitely part of the duet dance of working with a freelance filmer that has a van full of riders.
Yeah, that's an interesting dynamic. It's not a team trip. It's like a slew of individuals trip,
but even that, like I guess even from my younger days have always kind of, I guess, been taught that if you're out with the crew and everybody's trying to get a clip, just to be mindful of that, like not to soak up all of the time, right. Like trying to trick. And I guess also just being realistic with myself, like I'm not going to sit there and try something all day, not ever getting close once and then keep going. Like for me, again, as particular as I am, like if I don't feel that feeling that we all know, like when you're like, oh, I'm going to do it, or like, oh, it's close, like I'm going to land it soon, like in like a reasonable amount of time. Obviously I'm not going to try for 10 minutes and be like, let's bounce. But if like if it's all
right, that's it.
Yeah,
give it one try and you're like, I'm over it.
Yeah, if it's like hour 3, and it's been a while since I've gotten close to like the main action of the combo, or I'm not getting close to hopping the thing anymore, like then it's just like, yo, let's call it, come back another day. Like homies are here, they need to get clips too. And that's something that always kind of has come to mind to me when being on these filming missions, is just to try to be mindful of everybody else.
Do you ever do the turkey, the 5 more turkey? You ever heard it called that?
I've never heard that.
I'm always like, all right, give it a turkey, and then you hold your hand up, and that's five more tries.
Okay, I like that. I might have to utilize that. I usually just can know where I'm at, and then like I'll just give the filmer the like, hey, these 5 more, and we're stopping. Like get up, like pull the plug on it. Like
for real, stop filming me after 5, please.
Yes,
I'm gonna keep going.
Yes, because you see the filmer there, and then you start that like whole mind game of like, oh, like he's still there, I might as well give it a few more. But for me, like if I'm not getting close, man, I'm not gonna sit there and lie to myself or the homies and have them like sit there for hour 5, 6, 7,
right,
on a hope and a prayer. Like I want to be able to show somebody like, yo, I'm getting close, and this is why we're still here, not just like I haven't even jumped into the crank arm yet, like maybe another day.
Speaking of crank arms, dude.
Yeah, that's why I referenced it.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that clip incredible. A lot.
How hard was that? How long did that take?
That one, because the rail's slightly curved, this one wasn't that big of a battle. And to be honest, this is my favorite crank hard that I've ever pulled.
It's because pretty dang good, dude.
A lot of the times I've tended to land them without a lot of speed coming out of them. And I just like this one because like I landed and was able to like carry my speed throughout the fake cab.
This one, I think I thought about earlier while I was talking to you, the backwards Smith. When we brought up Drew, I was like, this is an homage to Drew right here. Like 100%. This spot use is so good, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's definitely something that I try to keep in mind throughout the filming process, is definitely spot usage and utilizing maybe the entire spot or aspects of a spot maybe people pass up.
So good.
Just because I feel like applying that level of creativity to maybe spots that people have been to a lot might spark something new, and then that may be the difference between you getting a clip that day and maybe leaving empty-handed.
I love it. It's one of my favorite clips in the whole thing.
I would have to say, from the feedback I got, that one's definitely a crowd favorite too. A lot of the homies were super into that one.
It's a good one. All right, where are we now? Yep. Hey, that's your. It's not even switch or oppo. It's just that's your first grind side.
Yeah, that's right. So the way I talk about it is left and right.
Left side. Yeah.
That way I never get caught up. Someone being like, "No, that's your regular on the left." You know, it's just like, nope, it's left grind and right grind.
It's a good line, balanced. Is it showing up all funky to you too?
It gets a little funky, but we're getting through it. But this is another example of what I touched on earlier. This is a spot that I had gotten a clip on in the strike video that I filmed with Zach that came out, I believe, last year or the year before. I think it was last year. And this spot obviously is it's red curb. It's super cool. And just the time that I've been there before, like I kind of struggled with like getting something or putting something together that I really liked or like wanted to walk away with. And when we went back, obviously van full of riders, Felix was there, and plenty of people on the session. And so as they were trying their clips, I was just trying to get creative with the stuff around me. So I opted for the nose bonk to 360, which I felt like was like a little bit different than the clip that I had done before. Something a little bit more creative, in my opinion.
It is more creative and more difficult, if you ask me.
And also another nuance to that last clip is, again, I'm gonna keep saying this a lot. I'm probably gonna sound like a broken record, but I'm so particular about clips that I wanted to do this clip without pedaling in between the two. You might notice that a lot throughout this video and others moving forward. Is I definitely try to focus
that
on
little pump right there, dude.
Yeah, try to get that pump to get myself going, to get the speed rather than like taking the crank. I just feel like it, to me personally, it just looks a lot more fluid. But obviously, if you have to take a pedal, like don't think that the the BMX
pro level
stuff,
are gonna come. That's pro level stuff. That's attention to detail in your riding. That's beautiful.
I like it, man.
That's good to hear.
It's meaningful to me. It might not be for everybody, but it's meaningful to me.
That's all in the details, man. That's just a great clip.
Thank you, man.
Right side Smith, hard up, full cab, left side Smith, backwards.
Yeah, again, another spot. You've probably seen this in Chad videos over the year. Colin Verignac clips come up. Mini rides for Fiend. I'm not sure of his like full name. I just know him as Mini.
Yeah, what do you do? Nose drop nose 180 bar?
Exactly. All those clips come to mind when I see this spot. So again, a spot that's definitely seen its fair share of clips of over the years. So one of those ones where I just kind of had to like spend some time, focusing on it, trying to figure out how to get something, to walk away with something a little bit different than the rest.
Is that something where you're just in the van with the boys and you all go there and you're like thinking of something to do there, or something that you had in mind that you were like, I want to do this there, and you went on a mission?
This was exactly what I explained earlier, like where, van full of riders, like a ton, like I believe this was a trip that I kind of coattailed on.
Yeah.
And, I'm so thankful to even be there, let alone use up camera time. So while everybody else is like getting their clips trying, I'm just like sitting there, just like throwing shit at the wall, hoping it sticks. Like, do I feeble hard up? Do I Smith hard up? Do I ice pick? Whatever, and then eventually like I'll kind of get that glimmer in my eye where I'm like, oh, that's it, and then what you see on the screen is the byproduct of that. And sometimes it could take 20 minutes, sometimes it could take an hour, but I usually just try to figure out any sort of way to walk away with something just like a little bit different than before and try to like really squeeze the creativity out of my brain.
What's on your necklaces? I like your necklaces. You look good out there is what I'm getting at.
Thank you, man.
You're a fashion
my necklaces right here. I don't know if I can show it too well, but it's the comedy and tragedy mask, which is, let's see if I can show it without it getting blown out. It's the imagery often used for Mardi Gras.
Yeah, nice.
And I believe this, again, I'm not too familiar on the year. It might have been 2021 or maybe even last year, 2022, where my birthday, March 1st, actually fell on Mardi Gras Day. So Mardi Gras Day, my birthday, the mask tying into that. So it's kind of just like a little like, I don't know, nuanced thing that I kind of like to have on me. I feel
I
like it
love
just kind
that.
of
Yeah.
adds to my person.
And just the symbol in general is like a reflection of what life is. There's
Yep,
happy days, there's sad days, and you
exactly.
gotta rock them both. That's fire. Cool. All right, back to it, babe.
Yeah.
Dude, if I could just do the Smith hard up, I'd be pretty happy. Let's see what's going on here.
Again, another line that I went back and did a couple times without pedaling in between the two. Just
Ah,
approaching the hangar with enough speed to get through there, land um,
yep.
in a solid way, and then have enough speed to do the wall 180 to fakie pegs cab.
And then the cab, you have to like be tall to not hit the wall. Looks like
Exactly.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super duper close. And yeah, just trying to like not run your front wheel into the other wall and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Spot.
Yeah, definitely a crazy spot. It's been there forever. A bunch of people have done things on it over time, dating way back. It was really hard to get to the upper rail, like in like a upright position. Like a lot of the times I found myself kind of coming at it at like a 45, which was real sketchy
Yeah.
because I don't know if you can see it well here, but at the bottom, it doesn't exactly meet the ground perfectly. There's kind of like a little trough style deal
Yeah.
at the bottom. And that is like a super abrupt hit, let alone even if it met the ground, it would be super abrupt. But this is
Boom. Well,
yeah.
you made it look smooth, dude.
And also shout out to Gary on that spot. Gary had done something very similar years ago, and I made sure to fact check myself on ABDs before that. So I like got in contact with Gary Young and talked to him about it. And he was like, dude, run that shit. Like that's a super cool clip. So that's another thing I try to take in mind just over the years, just not trying to step on anybody's toes if I can prevent it, like just try to
Yeah.
send those quick text messages. I mean, you definitely know what that's like. I definitely sent a few messages to you when I was just in Arizona
Yep.
about ABDs and stuff.
Has this been done, dude? It's kind of hard to start. It's like getting hard to keep track of it at this point because there's so much that's been done everywhere that it's like everything's going to be an ABD. But
Yes, 100%. And I just if it's on my mind at the time, it helps me, kind of ease my mind because like I feel like I can't try a trick if like I have that feeling of, oh, I'm pretty sure so and so did this or they
right.
did something similar. Like I have to ask before I even try it because like I don't want to get smoked trying something and then someone be like, oh, by the way, so and so did that like last week.
Yeah.
Like that's something if I could try to prevent that and also first and foremost not step on somebody's toes, then like I'll do whatever I need to do to try to prevent that.
Another great looking spot coming up. We got ourselves a 369 stair right side rail. 369. Ooh, the snaggle with the weird data glitch on it. Here we go. Snaggle. Left side snaggle.
Yes,
That's
sir.
great.
Yeah, that's I would say even amongst riders that maybe aren't that didn't experience the grind side dilemma that I went through, I do believe that a lot of people prefer doing hangers on their non-front foot side just because you do kind of have a little bit more room like where your bars go if you think
Yeah.
about it, because if I were to do a regular snag, like my bars would be like very close to like my front foot, which kind of like eats up a lot of the space.
Yeah, I can see that. Let's see. One more time.
It's actually a great angle for it too because it's kind of from under. So see how there's like all that space between like my elbow and like where my knee would be versus if I was doing it with
Yeah.
my right foot, obviously like I would be kind of squunched up with my elbow and my leg being all up in the same area.
Yep. Yoga stuff,
Yeah.
This is a great spot.
Yeah, definitely a really cool spot. Another one that's featured in a lot of skate videos.
Okay, nice. And to have a nighttime clip and a dusk clip, is this the same day or two different missions?
Yeah, same day. The nose, or I can't remember which one was filmed first. I'm pretty sure it was the nose first, just because that I knew that one was going to take some time. But also and as we were packing up, like before Grant threw the camera back in the bag, I was like, you know what? Like it would be cool to like grind between the two as well. And sometimes I'm like pretty particular about having the same spot featured in the video, like a bunch of times or twice like that. But in this, I feel like it was utilized in two totally different ways. So I was pretty happy with it.
Spot
Like,
use on a billion. And the pop in was so good, dude. It's just
yeah, we
simple and nice. It's freaking
exactly.
nice.
We went back and did it a couple times to make sure the pop was like super good and like front wheel first
Yeah, it's
into that
gotta be.
second bank.
Attention to details, man. And the fact that it's one's fish and then one's double long, and you really get to soak in. That spot doesn't look easy to ride. Like
It's
that was
definitely
my own.
interesting
Yeah.
with the run up, you know,
Yeah,
and
you got to swerve in.
yeah, I could talk about spots all day, but that one, just like the street's going this way and the bank is angled this way and there's a fence. So like you kind of have to swoop in and almost angle yourself just as I did and
Yeah.
try to like use up all of the surface area of the bank and then again come in straight and then turn again before you run into the fence.
Yeah. Here's the tightrope, baby. Or after,
There's the
huh?
type.
Yeah.
Yeah, after.
Oh my.
Yeah, that was definitely
You gotta love
sketchy.
it.
There's two things I'll say about this clip. It's definitely one of the harder ones to get. Just because hopping, like doing a hop bar into a crank, like having to go up like that
Yeah,
was
dude.
super difficult to have the time to get my hands back on before my crank hit the rail.
Yep.
And then also being in a good position to not only slide a decent distance to come close enough to the wall to like make it obvious that I was like trying to like ditch hitting the wall, but also
Yeah.
be able to come over comfortably.
So good.
And
And like
then
you can't just come over and keep going straight. There's another rail in the way. Like you
exactly.
gotta be
And then
precise.
I guess maybe like pause it right on the landing
Yep.
of that one. Um, so behind me, as you can see, the grass is all stomped out. Sorry, I keep like putting my hand in the thing, like people can see me pointing. um, the grasses are, or I guess the weeds are all stomped out right there. Again,
Yep.
going back to how particular I am, I actually like, I guess, weeded that little area of the flower bed because as you can see, like to my right, it's still kind of overgrown, but I
Yeah.
really wanted the spot to kind of look nicely in the clip and not have like all the like overgrowth kind of coming over the sidewalk or like showing that that curb in the back isn't there. So I actually like weeded it and pulled grass out, and Grant's just like sitting there looking at me like with his hands up, like, what in the hell are you doing? And I was like, dude, I can't not ride it. Like, or sorry, I can't ride it with all this overgrowth. Like I needed to like look like how I envision it looking.
You're like, I'm gardening, dude. Chill.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of a little,
That's
I
awesome.
guess, Easter egg to the video.
Yeah. You put in a lot of work. That takes time. Shit.
Yeah, it was definitely a
Yeah.
lot of grooming to say the
Yeah.
least.
Speaking of hopping over trash cans, dude, bringing it back
That's
to your
right.
youth.
That's right.
That's a great one.
Yeah, getting a
Just
little opposite spin there and manualing on that like slanted bank was kind of tough, or like the inclined bank on the side.
yeah, that's just a nice little clip. Good spot use.
Thanks. Yeah, it's definitely something I try to keep in mind, man. Is every spot just trying to
So
utilize the most out of it.
you're wearing like a hoodie, sweatshirt. How
Yeah, it's a
long?
sweatshirt.
How long were you guys working on this project?
Around 12 months. So we started in February of 2022,
Mm-hmm.
and then it went all the way until earlier this year.
Nice.
But it was never really like consistent, just because obviously Grant has many projects going on. He's got his own personal life. He travels. I travel. Got
Yeah.
contests and stuff to go to. Working on other projects. So we definitely did our best. And again, shout out to Grant for being so flexible with both of our schedules and just trying to make it work any way he can. Like sometimes we found ourselves getting out multiple times a week, and then other times we found ourselves getting out like twice a month, you know.
Yeah.
So we just tried to make do with whatever we could, and ultimately I think there was like about a week maybe like 2 weeks collectively that we actually like focused in on going get certain clips and going get certain tricks done or spots, going hit certain spots. So
That's
overall,
dope.
like, yeah, it was cool.
It's always good to have something that you're working on, like kind of in the background, because like even when nothing else is going on, you're like, yeah, I still got this project I'm working on with Grant. Not like you
Yeah,
don't have anything going on, but I think it's good to be doing the most. So that's good.
yeah, I never really put this on the back burner, you know, like obviously each of my projects that I work with each filmer is super duper important. And I never want anybody to feel like, you know, they're any lesser than that, but it's just hard to like juggle multiple things at once. So at some point, there's going to be some situation where homies are going out over here and homies are going out over there. And unfortunately, I can't make it to both sessions. And that kind of lines up more often than I'd like to admit.
Yeah. Well, you can tell you put your all into this one, man. I'm not saying
Thanks,
it's
man.
background in your mind. It's just background, like it's off and on for a year, which is, dude, a tire hanger, dude. I like it. That's
Thanks,
another
man.
it seems like another famous skate spot. Everything is a famous skate spot, no?
A lot of it is. I mean,
Yeah.
especially in like the Southern California area, you know, but this one specifically, yes.
Yeah.
It's been skated for many years. It's pretty low, it's square. There's ample landing on the other side and the ground smooth at the bottom. So you know that this is skaters are gonna love that, and
Yeah.
obviously riders too. And again, like this rail has been absolutely smashed on and in a BMX terms for years. So try to do something a little bit different, you know, maybe something that again doesn't step on nobody's toes and just tries to add a little bit more variety and flavor to the video.
Yep. That's a nice one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this one was me kind of stepping out of my comfort zone. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people noticed that you know, I'm not the biggest backwards manualer or, you know, the tech manual guy. So being able to pull this one off quite fast, I'll say, was definitely came as a surprise, which is why you see Cody, aka High Desert, laughing because like he was set up with like snacks and like chilling.
Yeah.
You know, we were like, all right, dude, we're gonna see where this goes. And it happened quicker than we all imagined. Even Grant laughed, you know, like he was just like,
Yeah.
okay. And, you know, you
Okay.
always got to be thankful for those because not often does that happen where
That's
you
bomb.
walk away with something quicker than what you thought you were gonna.
That's awesome. That's a cool background story. I love this clip. Just anything on the boardwalk is so sick to me.
Yeah, I was
And
definitely hyped
just
on that
yeah.
local Long Beach spot. You know, you got like all the like harbor in the back, got the cranes, kind of a little bit of the Queen Mary.
Yep. And just unlocking like a combo. Like I don't know. I think I've been there and no, you don't really think to ride that handrail in between the two benches, let alone do a 180 bar to left side backward Smith on it, man.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely. So
adopting
I
your
got to give
terminology.
credit. I got to give credits to where credits due. You know, I believe I'm pretty sure I saw a clip of Hobie Doan do
Okay.
something like between the two. I think he might have like manualed the top piece or something
Yeah.
like that. And like, of course, as BMX goes, you know, like I got super inspired from seeing him, you know, utilize the spot in a different way. And I wanted to kind of throw my own mix of that. So I went and not soon after, obviously, I wanted to make sure that like it was well known that he utilized the spot in his way. And then I, you know, tried to throw my own flavor on it by incorporating the grind in there as well.
Yeah, that's bomb. And I spy a Wes McGrath, dude.
Yeah, there's
Hi,
Wes
Wes.
McGrath right there. Hey, Wes.
Legend. I like to see the before. I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna jump here and do this.
You know what that's like, man. You know, like in those situations where you see the rider like trying to like picture themselves, they're like, all right, just go here, like jump here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things. I don't know, you just got to do, but it helps for some reason. And it, obviously on this one, it helped get my aim right. And another one that I had to do a couple times, which was pretty scary to do, just to get the most of the rail, you know,
Right. Yeah.
to get myself to commit to go slower, pop higher, and land higher on
That's a
the top
send.
part.
That is a send. Just full blown rail hop and then left side ice. I was about to say opposite ice. Oops.
Yeah, they gonna come for you, dog. They gonna come. They listening, and they're gonna come. I promise.
The police, dude. I love this one because it is switch footed lucky 360, which is so rad to see. I don't really notice you've done much switch footed stuff. Like, when did you learn switch footed luckies and how? I mean,
we gotta throw it back to grinding on the wrong side, baby.
Oh yeah, that's true. But
I say wrong side. Sorry, I started grinding on the left.
No such thing as wrong here.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
What a spot too, dude. You can like
crazy
decide. Yeah,
spot.
that's amazing.
There's two. There's a mirror image on the other side. It's like literally perfect. But yeah, grinding on the left side as a young kid, I wanted to learn luckies. So I would just switch my feet and do luckies on the left. And then I was like, oh, makes it super easy to lucky 180 because when my feet are switched and I go to 180, as I push down, my front comes up, my like actual front foot comes up. So then as I'm 180ing, I can just set my feet and then I'll just go back in like regular footed position.
Yeah. Trippy. So you've been doing opposite or switch footed left side luckies since you were young.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't want to put any claims that been switch footed or anything like that, but that's definitely how I learned switch footed luckies, was exactly that. Like I have vivid memories of like sessioning the skate park down ledge, switching my feet just to be able to say that I can do a lucky grind, even though like it was on the left side. And this was just a progression of that, being able, knowing that I could lucky 180. And this was my first lucky 3 ever. And I was just like, oh, this is a cool spot for it. I got the distance to travel with how tall the out ledge is, and yeah, just center on in. It definitely took a little bit to get done.
I like seeing you smile after clips, dude. Look at that. Look at that joy right there. Happy Broc.
Yeah, that was, I mean, that's that feeling you get, you know, that overall I don't know, feeling of joy that you get when you walk away from a clip that you set your mind out to do, whether it's something new or something you'd done before.
Yep. And then this is also one of my favorite clips because you're basically upside down doing a toboggan on this. Like, so good.
Yeah, I was really, really hyped to get this done. What an insane spot to exist first.
Yep.
And then, yeah, just trying to put 2 tricks together that I wouldn't normally, and try to be creative with my trick selection here. And ultimately, like, even with this freeze frame, like I was like, had to do it more than a couple times to make sure that like I put extra emphasis on the toboggan by like over cranking it, because I just didn't want it to seem like a quick like seat slap bar turn sort of deal. Like I really was like doing it and then going back and rewatching the clip with Grant. And again, shout out to Grant for his patience with all my particular parts of riding and filming, because like, you know, obviously that's slows down the whole process, but you know, to him, like he knows that it means a lot to me to like have the clip come out exactly as like I envision it in my head.
Pretty perfect, dude, in my opinion. Like if you were like, okay, do a hanger to 180 toboggan, this is way better than what you would even imagine. Like it's so good, dude. I love it.
Well, thank you, dude. I really appreciate that.
One more time. Okay, next clip. Yeah, that spot's insane. There's some stuff that's been done that Grant film. Oh my god, I love this one too. And I love all the clips, dude.
Thanks, man. This was a spot that I passed up, like I think maybe coming home from somewhere, and I was just like, what? Like that looks crazy. And I didn't really ride it. And upon the day that we actually showed up to try it, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be way harder to ride than like I actually thought, because I hop up the curb, and then almost as soon as you hop up the curb, you have to like hop and hit the rail. And yeah, so I definitely kind of danced with death a few times, like hopping into the hanger and like catching like the very last inch of the rail. Like, and so that was like real sketchy, but I like just the way the spot looked with like that little like V, like the yellow V rail coming down. And again, shout out to Grant and his editing expertise for putting the regular hanger 180 toboggan and then backing it up with the switch hanger 180 on the out rail. I think that was really cool that he kind of put those back to back.
Dude, and it's such a tall hop too. That's I mean, am I wrong? That's over bar height. Sheesh.
It was sketch, man, especially having Grant so close, you know, like having him right there on the other side of the rail. It's not like we weren't used to being in close quarters with one another, but the more times I can keep myself from like smashing the filmer or running into him or bailing into him, you know, the better.
Your pop doesn't even look like real life, Broc. Like just like yeet, just then all of a sudden you're 4 feet in the air. It's so sick, dude.
Trash cans, baby. Just start hopping them little things.
Another example of this insane pop is just like, hey, this is not a spot. This is a thing that's stopping us from riding the spot. But yeet, it's so good. In such tight quarters and doing that, how do you see that spot?
So
is that a pre-planned thing or a drive past type of situation?
So the nosy rail hanger spot is also at the same school. And we were there for the rail, obviously. And then just, you know, part of being in the van with other riders as they were kind of getting their clips on that same rail, I was just perusing around the school looking for other stuff that possibly piqued my interest. And then I came across this as like, oh, this is actually like a hop to pad sort of deal. And I was super hyped on how this clip turned out, just to kind of showcase, you know, the pop, but also just accompanying it with like nothing, you know, I guess in my personal opinion, like nothing too technical out of it, you know, just a nicely executed nollie cab, you know, just to kind of keep the focus still on the higher hop at the top.
Yeah, it's tasteful, dude. I love, and a good nollie cab. like you said, well executed. I love it. That's a trick I'm jealous of. I wish I could nollie cap. Okay, yeah. Shit.
This was probably one of my favorite filmed clips that Grant filmed. Obviously, the entire video is filmed flawlessly, but I felt like he was like literally under me with the fisheye right
Yeah.
here, you know, and this just to be that close and under me and then follow through with the camera as I'm like going down and then 180ing, I felt like takes some like huge skill. And I was just like, when he showed me the fisheye angle, I was like, oh my God, dude, like you filmed the fuck out of that.
Hell yeah. Good job, Grant.
Yeah, good
job, both of yous.
Yeah,
that's a great clip. I
man.
love the colors too. I think you can see in the fish clip he moved something to be this red, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah. He moved something to kind of be in the way.
Good job, Grant. And then, whoa, what is happening?
Yo, that was sick, actually. Yeah. That was kind of cool. It was like an overlay.
That's called data moshing. All right, here we go. Bar into the feeble hard.
Yeah, another iconic Long Beach spot. Yep. I mean, anybody that's ever visited Long Beach has rode the convention center right there with the tall pads and stuff. And the this clip, this clip was actually the, I guess, example of a day going from bad to good, because I had showed up there for something else and it went not the best. And I almost got like really, really smoked. But thankfully that didn't happen. And then me and Grant were kind of shook after that. So we were kind of heading back to the car. And then, you know, in that situation, you know, you're kind of like, what do I do? Do we go home and just kind of start again tomorrow? Or do we just try to go have like a chill session somewhere? But then we made the corner and I saw this and I was like, you know what? Grant's here. I'm not trying to like waste this dude's time. This is something I've been wanting to try. So let's just give this another go. And this was kind of the product of that.
It's so good. With speed. And then I love the little nose after.
Yeah.
Celebratory nose. So what happened before that?
We were sessioning a spot in the convention center that I had ridden before in a previous video. It's kind of like a gap. Okay. And I jumped the gap a couple times. And then when I was going for the actual clip, like obviously didn't try the thing. I was just jumping the gap to get myself warmed up. And then when I went to actually try the clip itself, things just went really wrong. And I ended up like I don't want to say falling, but like I could have hurt myself really, really bad. And yeah, after that attempt, we were just like, nah, it's not happening. Like, not after that. There's no way I'm going to get myself back up there and even want to think about trying it again. So we just kind of, you know, opted to pack up and, you know, let it be for another day, or possibly just can the whole idea. Because it was, I mean, in my opinion, it was a little bit on the gnarlier side. So I was just like, let's just like keep that on the back burner for now and just try to get through this day. And
yeah, know when to hold them. Know when to fold them. Dude, this is another one of my favorites. Like that backwards feeble looked so fun and good feeling, man.
Thanks,
like
man.
Holding a backwards one like that.
Yeah, it was cool to hold it for sure. Yeah. You know, like that was something that I like really enjoyed about this clip, was like being able to like balance the backwards feeble like throughout the majority of the ledge, which was also something we sat there trying for hour after hour of you know, me not doing it mid ledge, like popping the revert full cab mid ledge. Yeah.
So this was a battle.
This one was definitely a battle for sure. Just to get into a solid switch 180 backwards feeble and be able to go the length of the ledge is actually very challenging.
Yeah.
And then not only that, but being in the position to do the full cab.
I can't relate to the full cab at all, or let alone the backwards feeble. I could, but so good.
Yeah. I also want to say this was one of the earlier clips that Grant and I got. Like this was probably one of the like less than 10 first clips that we got. Like,
dude, what a good way to start. That would get me so hyped if that was like a clip that I knew was going to be in the video. I'd be like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, I was really hyped on that. And again, another spot that we visited that we were with, like I believe homies were in town this day, people from out of town. So we were at a pretty popular session spot where dudes can go and get a lot of clips, you know, and obviously I had to get creative because I had been to the spot many times before and it's been thrashed over the years. So just trying to utilize my mind the best I could to get something out of the day rather than just being like, oh, I rode this before, like I'm not even going to touch it.
Right. Yeah. Dude, I mean, speaking of the spot, it's just absurd. What a beautiful California, baby. They don't make them like that anywhere else.
That thing slides so good.
Yeah. Here we go. A specialty sauce. So good.
Yeah. Old Faithful, baby.
Old Faithful.
Gotta include it. But
Am
at least
I wrong to think that this was easy for you? Is that rude to say?
The trick, obviously, once I got into the position, as we spoke about in the earlier part of this podcast,
yep.
The trick itself was easy once I got in the position, but getting myself into that position, up the first rail, through the flat, and then up to the second rail was like extremely difficult because I was mashing, like I was like pedaling really fast, so my legs were toast by the time I got to the bottom to hop up the rail. That used up the rest of my energy, so I'm basically going up this rail with like noodle legs to then get to the top and have to like pop myself over. It was a big effort, to say the least.
The position that you get yourself into to do the over 3 is so nuts. Like you're just like, your bike is straight up and down and your head's over your front tire. It is wild. That
trying to get that wheel off that rail, man. That's the key, is to get that wheel away from the rail. That way you don't have any interference when you're trying to spin. You know, the more your tire touches or interferes with the rail, the harder the spin's gonna feel.
So good, man. Perfection.
And everybody knows
this is where
feeling.
The song switches, right?
Yeah, everybody knows this feeling, the homie hug. But can you stop it right here real quick? So this and in the beginning of the video with kind of those like crazy little like amoeba looking things, these are all neurons. So these are neurons firing under a microscope. And what a neuron is a nerve cell that controls your ability to think, feel, your motor skills and stuff like that. It's kind of like something that goes on in your brain. The reason we utilize these as sort of B-roll throughout the video is because the first song is called Feeling Real, and neurons have a lot to do with feeling. So that's kind of why there's that tie-in there with these being special to this video.
Boom. I love that.
Yep. And then the second song is off of an album by The Chisel called Retaliation. So both songs kind of have a little special tie-in to the video.
Nice. Yeah. The first thing I think of when you bring up neurons is like the ability to do tricks. Like that's all synapses and neurons firing, and that's pretty dope.
Exactly. Big spot, normal bar spin, nothing too special about that. Just kind of one we came across. Definitely want to go back and get something else there. This day it wasn't really working out. There was like a march going on or some sort of protest, and it was really loud and annoying, so we just opted to take what we could. And exactly, you said, know when to hold them, know when to fold them. So kept it pushing.
What's on your shirt?
So the shirt is
Champions. Look at that.
Yeah, it's actually a shirt from this band called Pain of Truth. They're from Long Island, New York. They're a super sick hardcore band, probably one of the more popular ones in the scene right now. Super good music, and this
super
is
good merch. That is a fire shirt.
Super good merch. I believe this is a collab tee with a band called Gridiron. Again, there might be some people that are listening that can fact check me on that, but that is about as much as I know and can offer info on. It's a band tee. I really liked how it looked. I bought it to not only have a super sick tee, but to support the music and the band that I really like.
Hell yeah. Bing, bang, boom. You make it look easy. I like that one too.
Thanks, man.
Nice little gap out.
Yeah, that one's a spot use trick, another popular spot. So just trying to make the most of it and utilize what I could at a spot that maybe is a little different than what everybody else had done previously.
Yep. And this makes me can't help but think of Drew with a tree ride and a Smith. I love Drew.
Yeah. I mean, dude, that's probably what it is, man. Growing up watching that dude ride, he had a huge influence on me as a kid. And I mean, still is a huge influence for me now, with his spot use. And just the way he rode was so cool. And so that's something that has stuck with me through the years.
Truly timeless, Drew Haselton. Okay, here we are. Beastie. Then you do a little weed whacking yourself there.
Yeah,
Bike,
that's right, man. Yeah, just trying to get some lines in there. It's not too typical for me to like go out to film lines. So that was kind of one where we were at the spot, I believe, for someone else, or maybe I'd gone to it a day before or something and like thought like, oh, I could film a line here. And anytime that happens, like I'm definitely pretty eager to get back to it just because like a line isn't something that I'm normally like out to film like every day. Like I wouldn't say that that's like the typical clip for me.
Yeah. Hi, Jeff.
Yeah. Hi, Jeff. Shout out Jeff C.
I was really happy to see this spot again. I feel like it's been forever since I've seen this spot in a video. So
yes, absolutely.
Reviving this guy. Look at this data motion that's going on. This craziness.
Yeah, the spot's super cool, man. It's actually super fun to ride there. Like, cause as I'm coming down, you can actually head up the next bank and it's like a spine. You guys might notice that from a clip from my strike part. I did a double tail whip over the like little
over the spine.
Box jump thing.
Yeah, that is a street box jump.
Yeah, it's so fun, dude. That spot is so fun to ride.
Look at them feet, dude. I love that. The 180 down whip or 90 down whip.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, I guess it used switch 180 down whip.
So good.
Yeah, those are definitely again, me trying to just bring a little bit more variety to my parts. The switch 180 down whip isn't something that I do too often, so I definitely wanted to include that in this video and try to do those a little bit more.
That's beautiful too. Just simple yet like a 3 to fake you on that I'd be stoked on, but throwing in the bar too is boom. On tight tranny, dude. Is that even a bike length tall?
I
barely.
think so. Yeah, barely. It's more just steep than anything, and it gets steeper. Like as you can see, like it kind of like the pitch of the bank changes towards the end. So like that's kind of like what makes it a little bit harder to ride, and why I wanted to include this clip was the, you know, like doing a truck to fakie, but then having to like land on the bank with both tires and then mash through the kind of abrupt bank to floor angle was something that I was like super hyped on that clip.
Super good. Same with that, man. This, like you said the word variety, and this part really is like well done trick variety wise.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate
pretty much in every aspect, Brock. Like spot use, trick variety wise, every like fucking down to the clothes you're wearing is so good.
Thank you, man. I definitely pay attention to all that stuff, you know, from repeating outfits, you know, not trying to do too much of that, to the spots, to the variety of clips, to spot utilization and setups and just all that stuff, man. Again, and I might sound like a total nerd or someone that thinks too hard, but I just like it. And that's what makes BMX special to me. And I don't know, it's just something that is super enjoyable to like kind of like pay attention to all those little details. Like I don't know, it just feels like it brings me more immersed, and the more I focus on it, the more I can see it in other videos, which I really enjoy, because then I'm like, oh, that dude did that there and in that outfit and this and that and that spot. And so I don't know, it's super cool to me, and might not be something for everybody, but I just enjoy it. And if you pick up on it, cool. If not, whatever.
Yeah, it's called passion, Brock, and you got it.
That's right. This is the homeless guy trick.
Yeah,
that was the homeless guy instance.
No easy feat, dude. That's a beast of a manual 180. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was just coming in hot at that pad was tough, you know, like in committing to the 180. And then another tech back manual clip was hyped to include that.
Yeah, dude.
Another one where I was like, all right, Grant, we're gonna give this some goes and see what we get. You know,
worked out.
Yeah, I'm glad it worked out.
I think I saw on YouTube Billy Perry comment and said that this is one of his favorites.
Oh yeah, this is definitely a spot I could see Billy absolutely shredding.
Oh, and here we go, dude. What does that feel like? To manual 180 a rail.
So funny. All my like, you know, my close homies were like sending me screenshots like, dude, why'd you post a clip of you casing a rail? You definitely got to be light on your feet for that, you know. To 180 and kind of just leave your back end lingering to kind of feel where your tire is going to hit, to then like push yourself over and through. Because I wanted to really show emphasis on the tire hitting, because it's easy to kind of make it look like you did case or that you just bumped it. So I really wanted to get like a really big taste of the rail as I was trying to like flick the 180 off of it.
Yeah, I think you kind of like maxed it out. I don't think it's physically possible to touch the tire more than you did. That's pretty good. Boom. This one I was pretty hyped on. Like the tail whip came out of nowhere for me. I was like, in my head, like I'm always thinking of what trick is coming next, and I was expecting something with the mani pad to the street, and then just like, oh, tail whip. All right.
Yeah, this was also another clip that was a pretty big battle. It was hot that day, and for some reason I thought it was a good idea to wear a long sleeve. Although it kept me from getting sunburnt, I had to stick with the kit just because I liked having the white long sleeve under the black tee like that. So I just was like sweating it out. But yeah, I was hyped on how the whip came around and was able to land it pretty solid with speed.
Yeah. Everything leading up to it is so difficult too. It's like, let alone doing just the backwards pegs to over whip. I mean, doing a predator, keeping speed, making the lean right. That
was everything. I mean, that was everything
dude.
That I battled, man. Was exactly what you explained. Was keeping the speed, being in the right position to kick the whip, having the whip come around in a reasonable manner for me to even think about putting my feet on. And it was a battle, and Grant stuck with me. Like, again, I said it was hot. He was sitting there trying to like gain as much shade from like one of these light poles as he could.
Yeah, he's just like squeezing against the light pole.
Yeah, dude, just trying to get any relief from the sun as he could. So again, shout out to Grant for battling with me throughout the hard clips and even the easy ones. Like, I can't say enough good things about my experience with him as a filmer.
Another fan favorite.
My homie asked me about like where the hell that came from, and like probably maybe like a week or two before this, I had learned switch trucks fly out.
Nice.
And this day, again, another spot we had gone that I'd been to many times, and just trying to get creative there. And not that I wanted to, not that I even thought that I could do it, but I was just like trying the switch 180 switch bar, and that came within a reasonable amount of tries. And then, I believe Dan Kruk was there trying to clip too, as well as a couple other riders. I think Mike Stahl and his homie Reiner were there this day. And so we were all trying stuff. And as they were going, I was just like, oh, I'll just try to truck and see if it works. And as you can see, it's pretty loose, and I wrangled it around, but I was really hyped.
It makes it so rad. I love the looseness of it. Like, it's not, it's that you can tell it's opposite. Like, it's sick.
Thanks, man. Definitely thought my wheel was going to end up in Grant's fisheye. Like as it comes around, like you can see my front wheel started like drifting towards him.
Tell me about the spot. Like, are you guys all kicking it up top above the staircase?
So everybody's to the right of that. So like so you go up those stairs where the wood is, and that wood is like so dilapidated that you're still feeling the stairs. So you go like down that and get as much speed as you can. But yeah, everybody's kicking it around the corner. So it's almost like a roll in, like you pedal straight and then like drop in hopping 90 into this little like makeshift ramp to get speed to go up the ledge.
That sounds fun, dude. I want to be there to kick it and just watch you guys do this.
It was a good time, man. It's always a good time to be around all these riders that Grant has around him, like all the dudes that are in town, and even the dudes that are with him all the time, like Dan and Stahl. But like I got to be in the van with like Alex Donachie, Jordan Godwin, Felix Prangenberg, Sam Jones, dude. Like all these dudes that Grant's been filming with. It's cool to be around them because I never really get to the opportunity to be in that scenario with them. Like, sure, we're at contests and we're at events, but like to just be kicking it with them, sharing insight, sharing spots, like it's just a whole different experience. And I'm really thankful to like be able to have had that throughout this like situation, like filming with Grant. Like it was super cool.
Yeah, dude, I love that. Like the names you just said, they're all top of the game. It's fucking awesome, and just great humans too. Like I've talked to, I think everybody you said, but everybody's so nice. That's just a van full of nice nerds, dude.
Dude, it was sick, man. They're all cool dudes to be around.
That's rad. All right, we've arrived at what the hell is happening, dude? That shit's cool effects.
Yeah, I like it, dude. It's kind of like the VX glitch. For us, we never really had a clear ender throughout filming for this video, up until earlier this year, when these literally last 3 clips came about: the Predator, Fakie Whip, the switch truck, and the tooth over pegs, hard 180. But this one just seemed like the right fit to both of us, just because it's a pretty technical trick matched up with spot usage, and it just kind of just felt nice with the way that Grant laid it out, with the way I like slip into the over pegs right when the song ends, and then like following it up with the slow-mo. I just felt like when he sent me the draft with that in it, it was just like, like I was just like, dude, that you nailed it. Like, again, Grant showcasing his like expertise as a filmer and editor.
Yep. That's really good.
Thanks.
I don't know what else to say.
There was some really sketchy attempts on this one. One of them, which I went from the tooth to the over pegs, and both my pegs slipped. And so like, I just literally like gravitated down the rail, and like my back peg caught the last upright. So having to go back up there and get myself ready to do it again was a pretty big mental battle, to say the least. What do you
mean your peg slipped and then your peg hit the upright and you rode away?
So so basically I did the tooth on the top bit as I did when I landed it. And then I went to go into the over pegs. And since my bike wasn't exactly like in the position to like sort of, I guess, let me use my phone, like this way, like hook into the rail.
Yeah.
Like hook into it like this. I was more upright.
Yeah.
So when my bike came down, my pegs hit, it like kicked me off like that and like sent me to the side. And then I floated to the bottom, and then my back peg caught the blast upright and like kicked me like almost into a nose manual, and I kind of tumbled.
Wow.
But it was just a really trippy feeling, like feeling myself like be like pegs and then get kicked off and being like, oh my God, where am I now? Like, am I in a crank arm, or are my tires on the ground?
What happened? I blacked out.
Yeah, straight up, So I was thankful to, ride away from that one. And then
what, like that trick you've done on some beastly, like Dawn of the Streets in contests, that's not something to just send on a big setup. You have that shit pretty dialed. I don't know, but is it different? It must be different for this one because it's like level instead of all being on the same down rail. It's a level hanger into a down over pegs. I'm just trying to relate to an impossible to relate to trick, dude.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's cool. Like, I mean, it's a trick that I'm super familiar with. A lot of people have seen me do it before. You brought up the one from Dawn of the Streets where I did do the tooth on the flat part and then did the pegs hard 180 on the down.
Yeah.
So I did have some, I was a little familiar with it. I felt like this one was just the ability for me to put the trick to rest in my eyes, as far as like this spot was the perfect spot for the trick.
Truly,
because there's the flat part, but then there's that little down break in the rail, and then there's the down part. So I felt like that kind of accentuates like, doing the tooth and popping over where the rail breaks and going, I say breaks, like the change up in the rail, and then going on my pegs down on the down part. I just felt like was like, couldn't have been, in my eyes, better spot use. And therefore, like, that's why we chose to put this as the last clip, and that's not me tooting my own horn. That's just how like I look at the clip and the spot, and the way I sort of kind of help Grant choose what would be an ender in the filming and editing process.
Pretty dang good, dude. How collaborative were you guys working together to edit this? Is he sending you drafts?
Yes, absolutely. He sent me, I think it was like four drafts before the final was created. I didn't have too much to offer to him as far as like telling him how to edit, when to edit, that sort of stuff, just because like I have no idea how any of that goes. But like his clip selection was perfect from the beginning. Like where clips was perfect. I think the only draft sort of situation was really based on like setting up the B-roll, setting up the intro, songs, and things like that. But other than that, this was, again, all credit to Grant for like taking all this footage that we collected and putting it together in this way, because it, it couldn't have turned out better in my eyes. And again, that's not me tooting my own horn, but it was just something that I was very proud of to show the world, because like I believe that we both like took our best swing at putting out a web video in 2023.
Yeah, a web video in 2023. That's the key phrase right there. Like it's a little bit harder nowadays than it was 7-8 years ago to have a web video take effect. Like it's got to be really fucking good, and this is really fucking good. Well,
I appreciate that, man. And definitely just doing justice to the time and effort and money and driving around and all that stuff. Like you just never want to like rush a project like that, or like like throw all that aside, like, hey, we put in a lot of effort for this. Like, let's take the time and, you know, really dig into like the small details to make this something that really feels like we put our best foot forward when putting something together. Because like, again, as you said it, like dudes are good. Like so many good videos are dropping. Even just in the past week, there's so many great videos that are dropping. So to even be a small fraction of the story or the conversation, you know, of the past week is just a really cool feeling, especially being able to share that with a friend like Grant.
Yeah, man, it's a trip that I know you, because like I can just picture being out of the loop and watching that video and be like, holy shit, dude, this guy's good. It's wild, dude. So good job, Brock. Good job,
dude,
boys.
you.
Grant
Thank you,
and
man.
Brock.
Thank you. I'm very thankful, you know, for everything, all the hard work and dedication that Grant put into this. You know, it's I'll never stop saying that. You know, like Grant really took a chance on me taking on this project because it was completely independent. Like I paid him out of my pocket, and we never really had a home for the video or kind of knew where it was going. We just started filming, and I just, you know, on a handshake agreement, promised him that I would pay him, you know, and that's a chance, you know, and obviously, you know, I held up my end of the bargain and got him the dough that he deserves. And it turned out to be the product that you see now, which we're both very proud of.
Hell yeah. How did it end up with Dig?
It ended up with Dig just because like we felt like that could be a good place to have it premiere. I hadn't ever really had any videos go live with Dig, so it just felt right. I ended up getting in contact with Fred Murray, who was a huge help throughout this process. You know, from getting the interview set up to getting the premiere set up, all that stuff. So he was a huge help too, you know, just because this was my first time really navigating. I guess it was for all of us, like kind of navigating this situation of, hey, it's not really a sponsor video, you know, like I paid Grant and now Grant gave me the video. So like, what do I do with it? So again, shout out to Frank and Grant for being patient throughout the process and helping me understand how this whole situation works. And another person I want to highlight is Pat Frine. He sent over the photos that he took from the times we were together too. So really those
Sick.
dudes were like played a huge part in like making this whole thing come together.
Hell yeah. Shout out Pat, dude. Aussie Pat. We
That's
love
right,
Pat
man. That dude's amazing.
Yeah. Who else did you cross paths with? And anybody? Well, yeah, Jeff Z, Wes, Pat, everybody was involved.
Yeah,
and
Pat, poor homie Rich, Baby J. Sorry, Baby J, I'm forgetting your last name. Jay Richardson, Jordan Richardson. There you go.
Yeah,
Baby J, High Desert, Cody Nemeth, Dan Kruk. I believe I mentioned him earlier, but yeah, like tons of dudes. Riley Smith, tons of dudes getting in and out of van all the time. So it was just really cool to get to experience like van life with them. You know how cool that shit is.
Yeah, for real, dude. I can't even. What did Dan do on that up ledge that you did? Feeble truck. Did you do feeble hard 5 or something, or feeble hard whip?
I don't know that the clip. I think he did for Instagram. I think he did feeble hard whip for Instagram, and I don't know.
That's
that
for the
clip,
gram, dog. So
yeah,
the clip's
that's
not
what I
out
said.
yet?
That's what I said. Yeah, I think the clip that he got, I don't think is out yet. Neither is Stalls or Reiners or any of the homies that were there that day. So got to keep their clips on the low.
Oh yeah. Shh. Do you do that shit too, where you're like one downing yourself for the Instagram? Like, do you pass the phone up and say, "Hey, film this for the gram"? Sometimes, I guess.
Yeah, I guess you would say so. I mean, I guess in regards to this video, you know, like we put the Switch 180 switch bar in the first promo from that same clip, right? Instead of doing the switch truck, like I did the Switch 180 switch bar and we used that for the Instagram promo for Retaliate.
Yeah.
So I guess we kind of just do that. And like that seems kind of more organic. And you know, this is a very taboo conversation about what clips belong on Instagram type deal, but I definitely think there should be some sort of tiered level of like what you know, what caliber of a clip you're putting on Instagram versus what's in your edit. Because in my personal opinion, I think that there should be a difference, because therefore if you're putting out all this footage all the time on Instagram that's like absolutely mind-bending insane, that's amazing, and that gets you amazing things, don't get me wrong. But then when you go to put your edit out and you either have to step it up from that or you don't step it up from that, I think that you're going to experience some challenges, you know. And I think if you know, keep it modest and keep it cool on Instagram, and I say keep it cool, like, you know, just post things that you're hyped on but not necessarily are like hours and hours of tries, or maybe it's an NBD or whatever, you know, like just put something like that you're hyped on there and save like the bigger, heavier hitting stuff for your edit. I think you might find that your edits might gain a little bit more of attention grabbing because people are going to go there to see that next level of riding versus being like, oh yeah, I could just go to his Instagram and see him do tooth over pegs hard 182, you know, like
Yeah. Yeah.
why am I gonna watch Retaliate? You know, dude's
Right.
doing same shit, you know.
Why do I
So
want to go all the way over to YouTube when I could just stay here and go like this, dude?
yeah, exactly. Go like this. And the next thing I know, I'm watching like, you know, someone do a funny dance, or I'm seeing a super hot girl, you know, like it's the world of social media, man. And again, I want to preface this whole conversation with like, this is my own opinion on this entire matter. Like I am not by any means the Instagram police or the edit police. And, you know, like that's just how I choose to look at it and how I want to kind of run my whole social media game.
Yeah. I'm the police. I'm gonna give you a red card if you start slacking or putting too good of stuff on Instagram. You hear that, Brad Sims?
But perfect example, man. Brad
Yeah.
achieved great things by posting insane stuff on Instagram, you know? So he might have an opposing opinion, and I'm totally down to have that conversation and be like, yo, like, that's right. You know, my thinking might be wrong, you know, but for him it worked. And that's so sick to see, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of all of which the lens you want to look at it. And I just shared the lens at which I choose to for my own personal life.
Yeah. It's all just, there's no right answer. And you're doing
Exactly.
you're doing it plenty good, man. Like your Instagram is awesome. I love scrolling through your shit, and the clips that you do post are incredible. I think you're just like that good of a writer that even the stuff you're like, it's not your top level. It's like still like, whoa, that's a Broc clip.
Well, thank you very much, Bobby. I appreciate that. I do. This does bring something up that I don't know what we're doing on time right now, but I did kind of want to have a conversation with you kind of around this. I don't know how much longer you want to keep this going.
Got all day, baby. Let's go. What do you want to talk about?
Just on Instagram, I really want to talk to you about like, what do you think kids nowadays that may want to take that next step, or, you know, start to grow towards possibly being a sponsored rider, you know, being that you had a lot of familiarity with working with Sabrosa, you know, like what are some things that you might look for, things that you might think are, I don't know, someone should do if they're looking to take that next step to be a sponsored rider? You know, they're good. They're obviously getting noticed amongst their local scene, but then they don't know what to do next from that.
Just show up, I think, is the answer. You gotta, like, above social media is like going to actual physical places and shaking hands with other people, and that's kind of like your social media presence grows based on your actual physical life presence, unless you're just an anomaly and you're doing the nose mails up the stairs like that one dude, which is fucking insane. He could just keep doing that all the time and sponsor the shit out of them. But I think
that is
even
so
like
insane.
No matter what industry you're in, if your life is like busy and you're meeting a bunch of people and interacting with people, your social media is going to reflect that too, and you just share the journey along the way. As far as like putting more emphasis on a full video part versus a Instagram thing, I'm torn. I almost like I'm talking shit to all the dudes in mediocre. Like, what are you doing filming this DVD part when you could be putting your clips on Instagram and growing your followers and be having a career there? But there's no right answer. I think there's something to the premiere. Like if you're getting your whole local scene together to do a video premiere, whether it's just like a 10-minute mixtape, like Zach Beerley out here, for example, he put on a video contest for all the locals to like have a 2-minute video and have a premiere for it at the local pizza spot, which was so fun to see everybody out. That was awesome. He's working on a mixtape that's going to be like 10 minutes long that he's going to get everybody out for a premiere too. And I'm like, dude, this is like cheating. I'm working on this shit for 5 years for a premiere. Like, come on. Yeah. But it's so sick just to get everybody together. So I'm happy to see all that. Yeah. And bringing the community together is huge, but your writing's got to be pretty unique / awesome and talented in a way. Like the person that pops into my head right now that I'm stoked on is Kai Brisebois from, I think, Canada. Kai Brisebois. I don't know how to say his name, dude. But he's the one, he did the bar chink 360 on a vertical pole. He had a dig video that just came out. He did it both ways and been following him ever since. And his writing is sick. And you can tell he's really good. And he's gotten to that. I think like you probably experienced this, like your writing career is like, you learn all the tricks you can, and then over time you learn how to apply that to spots, and then the better you get, the more you become like a artist, and you're just like you're choosing what to do on spots, and it's very intentional. And you look at Simone, you look at you, Garrett, like everybody at the top of the game can do all the tricks, but they decide what to do on spots, and that's the level of writing that you got to get to. And That's a rambling ass answer, but that's my thought salad on that topic.
No,
What
I
about
think
you?
that's great. I think that's I think that a lot of people might have some key takeaways from that, you know, and I would have to agree that I think showing up is something that's super big as far as like taking that next step as a rider, you know, not only showing that you're, I don't want to say down for the scene, but that like you care, you know, that you
Mm-hmm.
care to be there and you care to support other people and you care to be at these events, you know, I think is huge. And beyond that, like when you do show up, you know, if you have the opportunity to ride, other people are going to notice and see your riding, and that'll speak for itself,
Yep.
you know. And so in those situations, you know, like if you do have the means to get out to that event or to go to the next city to ride, I think that too kind of helps sort of pave the way towards more people getting familiar with your riding and things like that, you know. And as you mentioned, I don't think that there is any tried and true way to get noticed or get sponsored or anything. But the reason why I asked this is just because I believe that there is sort of kind of a gray area for the next generation or generations trying to come up that don't really know what to do
Mm-hmm.
with themselves when they get to that point where they maybe do have those skills or they do want to kind of take that next step. And I kind of wanted to have a conversation about that again with someone like yourself who has experience with a brand, and you know, me sharing my insight as someone that's been able and had the fortunate opportunity to be in the place that I saw myself in as a kid,
Do you
to
think
kind
moving
of
to
have a
Cali helped you?
conversation. um
And
I
how much of an
do.
impact do you think that had on your career?
I definitely do, but I don't think that it's necessary. I believe as long as you have the means to travel and get out and visit other places, I think that can have just the same effect, because there are times here, you know, when you're just kicking it with the homies, you're just going to the beach, you know, like you're just riding the skate park. So it's not always every single day we get clips and every single day there's a premiere, you
Right.
know. So
Yeah.
as long as you're able to get out to Austin, Texas, as long as you're able to get out to, and I'm just listing examples, these aren't the exact places you need to go,
Right
but
now
like,
they
you
are.
know,
Austin and
yeah,
Long Beach.
yeah, you know, Long Beach, Austin, even, you know, like there's places with six scenes, you know, like I think of New York and Meserole when they do their ride outs and shit,
Yeah.
and Dust Shop does ride outs, you know, and like just show up to things like that if you're on the East Coast. Or I know they do jams in Philly. Like I know that Powers in Richmond does jams. Like and they just had that Rumble in Richmond event, you know, like anything, like as long as there's something going on, as long as it's like remotely close and you can scrape up the money to drive or get the homies together and do a road trip, you know, like all that stuff becomes so meaningful in your story as a rider. And I truly believe that that is a sort of, again, there's no path, but I believe that that does help. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like it definitely helps you get yourself into that position. You know, again, as you said, showing up, having like showcasing your riding, obviously not being boastful and not having an ego. But if you're just going places and you're just riding like you normally ride, and people pick up on you, that, like you said, how if you have a high level of skill and your riding's awesome, like people are going to notice, you
Yeah.
know. And I believe that once that conversation starts getting started, you know, who knows where it could go from there.
Yeah. And even more noticeable than just being a dope rider is being a dope rider and then hyping everybody else up. Like if you're the hype man, like everybody notices. Like that's a weird thing to like consciously think about and go do, but fuck it. Like if you take one lesson, hype everybody up. It make everybody else around you feel great. And it's this business is, as well as every other industry, is who you know. And I'm thinking back, like knowing Drew, got Troy on Fit back in the day. Like it's all who you know. Somebody has their leg in the door, and they'll grab your hand and bring you in the door as well. Like so, everybody you meet, treat them with kindness and the golden rule, and be the best person you can be. Like because like it is way more than just being good on the bike. There's being the good human aspect and being tolerable and more
Yeah,
than hopefully more than tolerable, like enjoyable to be around. Like nobody wants to get in the van with an asshole, a selfish prick, and
I
you get
100%
sussed
agree.
out pretty quickly. Like you bring your like flow on a trip, and then everybody in the van knows that guy sucks. Like, all right, we're not. That's,
Yeah.
he's not going to last long.
Yeah, man. I agree with a lot, pretty much everything you just said. One thing that I think I wanted to like touch on again, just real quick, is like when you say, dang, what did you say earlier? It was on the tip of my tongue. Like when you say, you got to know people. Like I feel like people or young riders think that like, oh, well, that dude's just there because he knows that guy. Like I would like to kind of change the stigma of that in this. Not, I mean, hopefully over time. Obviously, I know that not everybody's going to watch this sort of
No,
podcast,
everybody's gonna watch this
that's right.
episode.
Every BMX rider watches this episode, right? No, but you know what I think what you were meaning by that, and what I would like to mean by that as well, is it's about who you know, because like you should want to go meet people and want to share the love of BMX throughout the community. So because you know those people, you get into those situations because you've showed them that you're a good person and you've showed them that you're a good rider. It's not just because, oh, these dudes are homies and they grew up riding together, so and so's got the deal, you know, over me, you know. It's because, well, yeah, you're not necessarily putting yourself out there or getting to know those dudes. Would you
And
say
just having that thought is losing immediately. Like if you're just like, if you're the dude that's sitting there and you're like hating on how somebody else got there, and you're saying that thing of like, oh, he's only there because of this, like you lose immediately. Like now you're thinking about somebody else's success in a bad way. It's just like, no, just like focus on yourself. Don't be a victim. Like you create your own, everything is happening for you, not to you, you know. That's a fun line that I like. That dude, I think it was Timothy Chalamet said that shit in like some weird interview sitting next to Zendaya. He said, you can be the captain of your ship, the master of your fate, but it takes time to realize that everything is happening for you, not to you. And then Zendaya goes, damn. Like something along those lines. Like, that shit's real. The biggest part of that I would emphasize is don't be a victim. I think that's a mindset thing. Like, and there's some truth to meditating, which is, you know, nobody needs, you don't have to meditate, but just getting your mind right and like thinking, visualizing success, and like it's going to be easy to succeed, and enjoying the ride and doing the little things every day that will weigh the decision of what you're about to do today against the goalposts of your future. Like, is the little things that I'm going to do today going to take me towards my goal? And like having a big audacious goal, like you having the goal to get on Red Bull when you're a young rider is something that you like have in your head, and everything that you're doing, you're like, no, I'm not going to go party with those guys because that doesn't get me any closer to Red Bull. Like, I'm going to wake up and ride tomorrow morning or something like that. Like, I think it's important to have big goals and weigh your decisions of your daily life against the future and what you want it to look like.
Well, I definitely think there's got to be a balance there, you know. I mean,
you can party.
Exactly. You know, like I don't want people to think like you have to have this strict lifestyle in order to achieve, you know, big goals like I set for myself. You know, like you don't have to limit yourself. Like obviously there's a healthy balance, you know, like you definitely want to like wager the idea of, oh, well, I got finals tomorrow, maybe getting hammered tonight isn't the best idea. And again, that's no shade on anybody that's ever done that, you know, but like, you know, maybe having that bit of rational decision making might be the difference between you finding yourself achieving the goal that you wanted versus not, you know. And I think to revisit something else you said, like, you know, like, are you able to get in the van with people and be the homie and like not suck, you know? Like I believe that there's so much that comes from that statement, meaning like, yeah, you can get in the van and be the homie, but if you're like, you know, an asshole, you're disrespectful, you talk rudely to people, all that stuff, people are going to pick up on that and weed that out real quickly. And on top of that, like if you're a good person and like the team is, you know, like fucking with you pretty heavy, like just think about like what the kids and the scene around you is going to do. Like if you're this good person and you're radiating positivity not only in your personal life but in BMX as well, like that's only going to bring good things to you down the road, whether you achieve a sponsorship or not. Like you're going to watch that compound again and again to where you'll be achieving things that you had never even thought of, because like you've become a person that people want to support and want to be around because you give support back and you give things back to them in the community as well.
Yep. And if like, I don't know, it's real easy to give up on the dream of like, I want to be a pro BMX rider, but if somebody can do it, then you can do it if you believe in yourself, you know?
Yeah,
like
100%.
If that's your goal.
Yeah, I mean, I you know, like I had the support of my parents as a young kid, and that's something that a lot of people don't. But what I didn't have is a scene around me. You know, I had one for a little bit in my super young years, but as I was really starting to progress things definitely started to kind of dissipate a little bit in the New Orleans scene, because all of those older heads that I was looking up to kind of moved on to their next chapters of life and weren't really out filming and riding as much as they were before. So for me, as I spoke about earlier, you know, like I was riding by myself and filming myself and just finding a way to like figure out how to make it work in any way that I could, and doing all my schoolwork to like be able to go to a event over the weekend and things like that. Just again, as you said, like I wasn't playing the victim, like, man, dude, I got school, like I can't go to
Right.
that, you know. Instead, I was like, all right, I'm gonna mash out this homework. I'm gonna give up a day of riding during the week to get everything done to make sure I can do whatever it is, like ace that test that my mom's like been grilling me for or whatever, you know. And again, it doesn't have to be school based, but just, you know, making those sacrifices that you might need to make in order to like get the long-term result that might be taking that next step.
Yeah, doing shit. It's so trippy to think about. Like you came up, 10 years ago, and now things are so different. Like it's just flooded social media, and like what does a kid do? That like, we didn't really answer the question. Like is it social media that'll get you sponsored, or is
Yeah.
it? And is getting sponsored like the goal that you should have? Like shouldn't you just want to become the best rider you can and travel as many places as you can, whether it's through a sponsorship or not? There's no right answer. There's no track. Like the BMX is kind of like stand-up comedy in a sense. Like there's no defined path for you to take. Like you kind of create your own shit. You take your own angle in marketing yourself. And it's weird to like think of it like that, but you are doing it. Like I think you and I maybe did it subconsciously. Like it's just part of what we enjoy doing, sharing on the internet and etc. But it is marketing yourself, and that's a skill that either you consciously think about learning or you're just doing it without realizing it, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, I basically have a marketing degree from the pimping myself out and being in the BMX world that I've been doing for the past 5 years, which is
That's right, man. And I didn't necessarily want to bring this up as like a this is how you get sponsored talk, or you want to get sponsored talk. I really just kind of wanted to have a conversation with you about it and hope that there were maybe some like really good like takeaways for the people that are listening that
yeah.
maybe want to take that next step that might aid them in their journey, you know, or like
I have the
their
answer.
path.
Here's how you get sponsored. DM Broc Raiford your best clip, say, hey bro, I want to be sponsored, and then he'll take care of the rest. It's who you know, baby. It's who you know.
Hey, I can't make any promises, man. I enjoy seeing everybody's clips though, you know. And you know, it's funny you bring that up because that is something that I do, that a lot of people think I'm crazy for, but I pretty much respond to every single DM that I receive. And this might open up the doors to a lot more, but I'm down to keep giving it my best shot. And granted, I can't claim that I get to every single person and I give them the most thorough answer, but I try to give everybody some sort of answer, you know,
Mhm.
like, especially if it's something like a genuine question, you know, because sometimes I get those messages that are just, hey, you
Yeah.
know, and those are, I'm usually like, yo, dude, like, if you got a question, I'm down to answer it. But like, I got a lot going on. I can't really just be like having this, like, hey, what you doing? Not much, just chilling. Like, be right back.
Yeah.
Like
So what you up to
TTYL.
today?
Yeah, you know, but like, if you got a question about something, like, I'm trying to do my best to answer it, you know, because I think that's the cool thing about social media nowadays is how connected you could be with the people that you might look up to, you know,
Yep.
and to have the ability to have the opportunity for them to answer you, I think is another way that I try to give back to the community. And I'm not tuning my horn saying I answer DMs, so I'm the man. Like, that's not it. I'm just saying that, like, when there's a little kid from some bumfuck ass town in Louisiana that messages me and says, hey, dude, like, we're both from Louisiana. I just wanted to know, how do you 180? I'm going to sit there and type out how to 180 to this kid, because who the hell else, A, is going to answer him, and B, is going to tell him how to do that. And if I can make that difference in him continuing to follow BMX, I'm going to take the time to do that.
Hell yeah. Well, you are the man, and you do answer DMs, so I'll toot your horn for you. Put me onto some hardcore bands. Who should I be listening to?
Oh,
I bet you and Felix probably jived on that shit.
oh yeah, we go crazy together. Man, it's tough to really share because my feelings go all over the place. A super solid one, I would say, and there'll probably be a lot of people that agree with me on this, is this band called Soul Search. I believe that they're pretty straightforward hardcore. They're loved by many. There's that band Pain of Truth, which is also like super popular. From there, let me go into my
Pain and
playlist.
Truth?
Pain of Truth.
Pain of Truth. Truth can be
Yes.
painful.
Yeah, they just came out with a new song recently that rocks pretty hard. There's a band called Never Ending Game that's super sick. Where's my hardcore playlist? Here it is. There's a band called Momentum that my buddy Jordan plays in. He's actually he used to ride BMX, and he's the vocalist in that band. I have another vocalist buddy.
That's him right there, huh?
That's Jordan.
What's up, Jordan?
Yep. There's also another one. His name's Joey. He's the vocalist in a band called Pull Your Card. Both Momentum and Pull Your Card are both Los Angeles based bands.
Dude, that's a hard band name. Pull Your Card. That is,
dude, they're heavy, man. And Joey's sick. He rides BMX as well. He follows the scene. Him and I DM a lot. Can't say enough good things about the dude. Shout out to Joey. Those are some good bands. I mean, those are homies bands. And really, again, like, I'm not claiming that these are, you know, the most underground, unheard of bands, but I think if you're getting into it, that's a pretty good array right there of like what's to offer, at least from the side of things like Los Angeles based bands.
Have you always been into hardcore? Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. Since I was a teenager going to shows with my buddies at this place called the High Grounds in Metairie, Louisiana. You know, there's some really old photos I could dig up of me moshing like in like super tight pants and a V-neck shirt. Like some, like,
I knew that,
super
Broc.
Scene haircut. Yeah.
Maybe not the scene haircut, but
so I've been into it for a minute, man, and I've always enjoyed music and, you know, just hardcore in general. And I mean, again, I don't have a lot of knowledge about it, you know, to be completely honest, but I do like supporting bands and going to shows and, you know, hearing about it and learning about it. So the fact that I can get on this podcast and talk about, you know, bands that people that I am friends with are in is like pretty cool.
That is dope. Like, just to know those people is pretty rad. And it seems like what goes with hardcore is traditional tattooing, like traditional style tattoo art.
Oh, sorry.
What do you call it? Traditional style tattoo art? Whatever.
Yeah, it'd be basically American traditional flash is like the overall flash. Flash is what you see when you see any tattoo on a wall, like a picture of a tattoo on a wall. That's like flash, like a painted one.
Got it. So
I actually have some with me right here. If I could showcase them with you.
I'd say it's time for some show and tell, brother.
Yeah, so there's these two here. They're probably super blurry or you can't see them, but this is an eagle I painted. That's a flower I painted. But here, closer, I have this one that I finished up a couple weeks ago. Let's see if that'll come into focus.
Yeah, that's money.
It's like a panther, a dagger, and an eagle on a branch. Painted it up recently. Pretty hyped on how it came out.
Yeah, dude.
And then I have another one here. And this one is kind of some smaller designs. I have
nice.
6 of them.
That makes sense as flash.
Yeah, exactly. So basically what this is, you know, let's say you're on the market for getting a rose and hearts. You can go into a tattoo shop and be like, oh, I like this one. Can you draw this one up in your own way and show the tattoo artist that, and they'll kind of come up with something for you from there. If like you don't have your set in stone idea.
Yeah. Is that what you've done for the majority of your tattoos? Just kind of go in and I want this.
Basically so, because that's kind of the way of saying that would be like me saying, hey, Bobby, I want to work with you and I want you to film me in your own way. Is the best example I can give, right? But imagine if I approached you and was like, hey, Bobby, you know, I want to work with you, but I need you to film like William Strobeck. Is basically the idea of like going to American traditional artists and asking them to do black and gray realism.
Yeah.
You know, it's just kind of like, oh, like I can do that for you, but that's not exactly my expertise, right? And again, obviously tattoo artists are willing to work with you through these sort of things and kind of guide you in the right direction. But from my understanding as a client only, like I am not a professional tattooer. I don't work in a shop, but like from me having friends that are in the business of being professional tattooers, that's the insight that they have given me as far as like approaching artists and like where you go and how you kind of navigate that whole sort of, I guess, conversation with the artist you choose.
All of a sudden I really want a new tattoo. It's been years, dude. I have this, like, it's got to mean something shit in my head, and I'm like, I should just go get one, you know, go pick something cool off the wall, do something impulsive that'll be with you for the rest of your life. It's great. You know?
Hey, yeah.
What's your most impulsive one?
Oh, I don't know if I have too many impulsive ones because I kind of like, yet again,
You're
me
pretty
being
particular, dude. Yeah.
like I like to plan it out and make sure it fits the space and shit like that. So unfortunately, I mean, I do have like a couple on my thighs. Like I have one that might be the most impulsive, which is my homie's initials. He abruptly passed away. And so like, that night that I heard the news, I immediately went and got one of his initials on my thigh. So I guess that would be the most like I thought it and then went and got it versus like having a couple weeks, a month, a conversation about what should we put here? Oh, let's not put the leaves there. Let's put it here, sort of thing.
You're a planner, dude. I love it. And it shows, man. It shows in that video we just broke down.
It's bittersweet, man. It's bittersweet.
It's a blessing and a curse, huh?
Oh, while I'm looking at it, this is a band to check out. Soul Blind.
Soul Blind.
They're more of like kind of alternative rock is the genre.
I like that.
Yeah, they're pretty sick, actually. I really like them a lot. I got put onto this band by Damien Rackett and Sam Chabert. They're both two A-like affiliates, and they put me on to Soul Blind. So shout out to those dudes, and shout out to the whole A-like crew as well. Those my homies.
Cool. I like that. I'll check them out. They're putting up numbers. Soul Blind is good for them.
Yeah.
Speaking of put me on to shit, riders that I don't know that I should know.
I'm so excited for this question. Dude, man. I listen to so many episodes, and after every one, I always think about who I'm going to highlight, and the same name always comes up.
Hit me with it.
His name is Justin Scott.
Justin Scott.
He is from Houma, Louisiana, and he is an absolutely phenomenal BMX street rider. I'm going to get you his Instagram right now.
Justin.Scott _?
Yes.
All right.
Please just watch the first clip. I believe it's on a flat rail.
Yep, Feeble over Smith whip. Yep, that's fantastic.
Yeah, on a square flat bar.
Yeah.
And obviously he's an extremely talented rider beyond just doing technical rail moves. He gets help from Stranger, but he's just down there working a normal job, riding what he can. But amazing kid. Pretty quiet, but dude, his riding is so loud. His riding speaks volumes, man. He is very, very talented. Not only bike rider, but a skater as well. And Jay's, a close friend of me and all the Louisiana boys. And I would just really love to shed some light on him as a rider from Louisiana that could use some talk around his name.
Shout out Justin Scott, dude.
Yeah, he kind of came.
And his whips are nice, dude. Looking at some of his clips.
Yeah, he's got the steez on him, man. He dresses kind of nice too. He got the baggies on. But yeah, Jay came onto the scene a little bit after I moved, so I didn't really get to meet him right away. But all my homies, obviously, that still live in Louisiana, and we're always telling me like, dude, you got to meet Jay, dude. He's insane. He's so good. And then sure enough, one of the times I went home, we had a session together, and I was absolutely blown back at the skill on this kid, man. Like seriously. And again, just like very nonchalant, like almost has that like don't care attitude, like not about BMX, but just like in general, like he's just kind of like free flowing and just, yeah, dude, it's cool. I think I'm gonna do
whatever, man.
Yeah. I think I'm going to do like Feeble over Smith whip, you film this real quick. Like, yeah, again, like I don't have a ton of familiarity with Jay because we've only hung out like, maybe 20 times, but man, dude, the kid's got skill, and I want to put light on him for sure.
Oh, he's a good one. Yeah. Excellent answer. You got any more?
Yes, actually. So I'll do a little bit of both. I'll do Jay from Louisiana. He's a Louisiana boy, so I got to rep the state that I'm from and have him in close tow, hopefully. And another guy from out here that I really enjoy seeing ride, his name's Maxwell Herrera.
Maxwell Herrera.
I believe his Instagram might just be that.
Yeah, let's see. Follow back, Maxwell Herrera.
So again, don't have too much time spent hanging out with Max. He's part of the Peep Game posse.
He's wild looking. Look at that hair and pants,
dude,
man. He's sick.
Hair, dude, the kits are fire. I got put on to him, or really, I guess just my first interaction with him was at the OSS Jam maybe a year or two ago at the six, like at a ditch near the 605.
Look at that Superman fully extended with the white pants. Let's go. Go on. 605.
Dude, Max did a whip to like wall ride into like, you know how like some of those like riverbed bike paths have like the slanted steep wall?
Yeah.
Well, they quickcreted it and then had like a wooden launch ramp so you could jump the wooden launch ramp.
Oh, he's the one who whipped into that?
He whipped into that.
At the OSS Jam?
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
Sheesh.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
and then from there, he was at the BMX Day Jam last year, going off, doing some crazy stuff out of this like super slender kicker that they had, like at the initial meetup spot. And overall, Max, you know, from the time that I have spent with him, just seems like a super cool kid. You know, like I believe he has a camera and he films his friends and like puts videos together of all of them. And on top of that, he's just doing some crazy, interesting riding. You know, I mean, it caught my attention. Like there was plenty of pro riders at that OSS Jam, and he was the dude doing the whip into the wall. So like, you know, you're gonna pay attention when that kid's
that's
riding.
Seared into memory. I remembered it. You know, that's wild.
Yeah.
Shout out Maxwell Herrera.
Yeah.
All right. Any more?
I would say
that was a good one that I wasn't following, so thank you.
Yeah, I would say those two dudes are definitely two that kind of come to mind as dudes that I feel like, you know, could really use the spotlight put on them. There's definitely a bunch of riders in Louisiana that I'd love to mention. There's a kid named Nate Tello that's doing some super creative riding out there. He's like super different. Like he's doing like crazy gaps and like interesting like Smith stalls and spins. There's another
it's
kid.
So crazy playing this game and then seeing people that I'm already following. I'm following Nate Tello. Like,
really? That's sick, man. That's awesome. I'm sure he's super hyped on that. But Nate's a good kid. You know, he checks in with me often. We message on Instagram. Super positive, and he's, you know, like he loves talking Louisiana with me. Like we just always like say funny.
In this clip, he's rocking the Louisiana kit, the no shirt shorts.
Yeah, yes, exactly. It's hot out there. So yeah, Nate's doing some super creative riding. And then another kid I definitely would like to mention, his name's Jacob Lachute.
Jacob?
I think it's Lachute, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, here's one. Follow.
Yeah. So Jacob had been coming around for a super long time. Like Jacob and I were riding the skate park as kids together, and he's like stuck with it, and his skill has gotten better and better over the years. So I've been knowing Jacob for quite a while. And just to see where he's at now with riding, he's like super talented and definitely another kid that's on the up and up right now from
his
Louisiana.
Bar spins are dialed, dude. Like,
oh yeah,
poppy.
Yeah,
that's great.
He's nice with the tail whips too. So I would just say, you know, like all of those, obviously shedding light on Louisiana kids, or I say kids, like the homies. Sorry, like, and then obviously Max is just someone that comes to mind too, as far as like being a super good rider from out here in California. That's someone that like, you know, again, like I don't want to talk on Max's name too much just because I'm still super new to knowing him, but it seems like that kid could definitely use a push with like more eyes being on him than what's already there.
Yep. And we can't talk about Louisiana without talking about Brandon. So shout out Brandon.
Shout out Brandon. Absolutely. Brandon been there from the jump. I feel like Brandon's super well known. So obviously he is a name that comes up to mind first, but Brandon's been established, been in videos. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, obviously shout out Brandon. And he's my longest known BMX friend from Louisiana.
Nice.
You know, besides a couple of like the older homies, obviously because I knew about them, but like Brandon was a kid where he reached out and like was like, hey, like I live in the next town over. You want to go ride? I believe it was on like MySpace. And so like from that point forward, we were just like homies. So shout out to Brandon, man.
Shout out to Brandon.
Yeah.
Okay, next up. What's your scariest clip ever?
Scariest clip ever.
You've done some pretty scary shit.
Scariest clip ever would have to be the bus stop hop, glide, or skip as the banger of Strike. As far as like the most like high danger / calculation.
Yeah.
You know, because there's things that were scary, but eventually, like I was like, okay, that wasn't so bad, and thankfully this was too. But it was like, dude, like if I mess up even the slightest, I am getting so smoked.
Yeah, high risk.
Yeah, like the top of the bus stop was barely a bike length, and I had to do a rail hop over onto it. So like hop management and speed management were both a thing. And you've been in that situation too, when you're like getting amped up to try something. Obviously you tend to juice it a little bit more. So that was kind of something that kept running through my mind when I was going to try it, was just like, don't juice it. Like, don't juice it. Because if you juice it, you could hang your front wheel over the other side and you're
Oh my God, dude.
yeah, you know, like just because of
Yeah.
basically I was aiming for this, you know, like
Right.
picture rail hop to skip across this and then bus stop height to
Drop.
ground
Yeah.
with
Gnarly.
cars coming. Granted, I had homies there to watch cars for me. You know, shout out to them for being there during that time. But just the whole overall encompassing deal, like, you know, I mean, the rest of that video, as the rest of that video plays out and I toss my bike, I was like, I cannot believe I'm alive. You know, like that could have went one of two ways, and I'm glad it went the way that it did.
Hell yeah. What about just in general proudest, excluding that bus stop one? Because sometimes the scariest one is the proudest one. But what clip are you? Let's actually talk about in Retaliate. Which one are you most proud of from that video?
Oh man, I think, although I want to say the tooth over pegs hard 180, I definitely think I'm most proud of the feeble switch truck, just because of switch bars in general were not a trick that I learned as a young rider. So I had to put in fucking work to have that be a trick that I could actually like do and not have look like total shit.
Nice.
So to look back on the journey that I came from, of like me learning it, to me getting better at it, to me being able to do it fly out and in tricks, to now being able to look at a clip of myself doing a feeble switch truck, is just something that me personally I'm super proud of. And again,
As you should be, dude. That's fire.
and even though it's not an NBD trick or a never before seen trick, I do think it's something to, you know, always like reflect back on yourself and your own riding and just be like, you know what, like, yeah, like put in work for that. And I'm like hyped that like I was able to like come through for myself. And, you know, that day I had never done a switch truck anywhere else besides fly out. So to be able to put myself in that position, filming with Grant, like knowing that I can do it, but not knowing what the result was going to be, and to be able to come through successful with a clip is just a feeling that you know, I'm proud of being able to accomplish, you know, and not backing down to the fear or my negative thoughts that are saying you can't do it. Like, don't waste these dudes' time trying something new. Like, you know, just do it somewhere else, some other time, whatever. You know, like it was definitely cool to feel the feeling of like, no, like I believed in myself, therefore I did.
Yeah. Therefore, I did, baby. I love that. Um, let's just off the cuff. I'm curious about like who had the biggest impact on you as far as like meeting somebody when you were younger, or like Jason and them, or you know, people that you've crossed paths with that left the longest memory on you, and maybe a lesson from whoever that is or something.
Definitely the entire camp that was Mike Mastrone's van. You know, as we spoke about before, everybody that was in that van helped really shape who I was as a street rider. And I'll get into who helped shape me as just a human in general, or I guess a pro rider in general. But those dudes definitely really influenced, you know, the way I look at spots, the way I want to film, the way I, you know, like the communicate with others, kind of all those things, just hearing how they talk, the things they complained about, the things that we're stoked on. Because I was a kid and yeah, we were talking smack, but most of the time I was just kind of quiet in the back, eating candy, listening to what everybody else had to say, you know? So from Drew to Tate to Mike Mastrone, Lil D, even Billy Perry, you know, another kid similar to my age from across the country, you know, hearing his insights. That, you know, Sean Moore, Biz, Jason, like I would have to say, like in this moment, what comes to mind is those dudes, as far as like people that really helped influence me as a younger pro rider, you know, to the person I am now. Like I really often think back to Mike teaching me about spot use and setups. We all know that that dude's been the king of that forever, right? You know, and Tate's creativity, you know, like, I mean, I can almost even Drew, spot use, setups, creativity, you know? So like all those dudes, when you put them all together, Raban, same thing, you know, like I could list out the entire volume team. And again, that's why I never shed any negative talk or anything on volume, even though I'm not a part of that team anymore. But during that time, those dudes helped me so much, you know, and I'm
We'll call
very, very
them
thankful.
the finer people. We'll call the van the finer people.
Yeah, the finer things era.
Yeah.
That's right. You know, and then moving forward from that, the person that I believed helped shape me as the pro rider that I am today is definitely Terry Adams. You know, like we spoke about that in the beginning about him giving me the hat, but not just only that part, because that was kind of the cherry on top. But like that dude, like actually like took time out of his life and his day to like teach me how to write an email, you know, like a formal email, and like, you know, taught me like the things that I might want to start focusing on as a younger up and coming rider versus, you know, focusing on chicks and cars, you know? So just, dude, can't say thanks enough to Terry and that whole Finer Things camp that was at Van, Mike, all the dudes involved at Volume, even the dudes that weren't, you know, Biz, Sean Moore, just hearing what they had to say and learning life lessons from them in BMX and not was just a huge experience that I'm very grateful for.
Fire. What about the worst like sleeping setup that you've had traveling all these years?
All right. Worst sleeping setup. Oh man. I slept in the volume van a lot. One that comes to mind, it wasn't necessarily the worst, but as a younger dude, I was like pretty scared of like ghosts and shit and like demons and stuff. So
sorry to laugh.
Dude, it's all good. It's all good. Luckily we moved past that now. We've gained some traction. Watch, I'm gonna get possessed tonight. But for real, you know about this. We went on a ghost town trip with Volume.
Oh yeah,
throughout Arizona.
Yeah,
and we went to some creepy little mining towns, man.
Yeah.
And these dudes were loving it. They're like, yeah, we're gonna stay in the haunted rooms in these creepy little old hotels. And I tried so hard to have the courage and bravery to be in there, but I couldn't even like be in the rooms, you know, because like they'd be down at the bar. I was still too young to drink at these times. So I was just in there hanging out. And, you know, the bartender would be like, yeah, sometimes bottles fly off the wall. And, you know, just really hamming it up, like building the scenario. And they're all like, haha, yeah, whatever, you know, like, and then I'm sitting there like, really? You mean that? Like the bottle flew off the slept in the van, slept in the van again. Every night of that trip, I pretty much slept in the van unless we were in like a decent hotel.
That's pretty good.
Not that the other ones weren't decent. I say decent as in not haunted.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's a fun one. Let's see. What else do I ask? We got to do Mount Rushmore. Who's on your Mount Rushmore?
So I have a question about Mount Rushmore. Is it current or is it all time?
I like that. Let's do one of each.
Okay.
Yeah, because they are different. All time is like you have to be inclusive of the past, you know?
Yes. I would say the current Mount Rushmore for me, and I feel like I want to like, you know, include a variety of riders here. Obviously, Felix. Really enjoy what he's doing and watching what he's doing. Not only is he a phenomenal rider, he's a great human being. Beyond even our friendship, you know, because we're super good homies. We're into a lot of the same stuff, but his creativity is awesome. The videos that he puts together with his filmers are awesome. Moving forward from that, I got to put Simone in there.
Mm-hmm.
What's not to love?
What's not to love?
What's not to love, dude? Dude's like, you know, Simone encompasses like street culture to me.
Big time.
You know, like from the way he dresses to what he's into, the art he's into, the way he rides, the vibe he puts off, like it's just fucking cool, man. And like, I don't ever think I've watched a Simone video where I was not, dude, that was just sick, you know? And
he's the best.
Creativity, obviously, as well, something that speaks to me. So with Felix and him, those are huge. I gotta put Corey in there.
Walsh.
Corey Walsh.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Absolutely phenomenal to watch ride a bike.
For real.
You know, whether it be bowls, box jumps, whatever. Like the dude's so stylish and it just looks real fun to ride like him.
So fun. It's so fun
Yeah.
to watch, dude. It's
Yeah.
so unrelatable to me, and it's so fucking awesome. I love every second of it.
Yeah,
It's,
right. It's cool. And like even seeing it in person is that much crazier, you
dude,
know? Like
yeah.
I what comes to mind is a me watching him ride this pool, I guess like a bowler pool at a skate park in San Diego, and just seeing how high he was going and the way he was maneuvering the bike like casually was just
Yeah.
really crazy, because like I've seen people move bikes before, but not like that.
Yeah. He's special.
And then another that comes to mind is Dovey.
Dovey's fucking incredible too, dude.
Josh Dovey.
Yeah. He's so fun to watch.
Dude.
Yep.
Holy shit, man. Even like obviously his clips are insane. Seeing him watching battle or seeing him ride Battle of Hastings is insane. Like, you know, he's just got like he's kind of like timid and shy from the times of hanging out with him, you know, but he'll like crack little jokes here and there. But then when he gets on the bike, he rides like a dog, dude. Like he's just like rabid, like getting faster with each pump and going to the moon.
Yep.
The bike control was insane. You know, again, there's so many riders that I can put in this list. You know, like there's dudes.
Yeah.
Jordan Godwin comes to mind as well. You know, like if there was a fifth position, you know, not that there's any tiered level here, but like as far as like really like spreading it across the board is like Felix being technical, Simone being creative and like utilizing spots, and then the, you know, Corey and Dovey being so special in their own ways in the transition world. Like those are dudes that I would like want to be up on a wall where people will like watch those videos and be like, this is what BMX currently is.
I like that. Yeah. Our representatives.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, they're right. The Corey and Dove, like there's something so pure about just like airing and making it look that good and going that fucking high. It's unbelievable.
Absolutely.
I always thought Corey Walsh, before I like met him or talked to him, I always thought he was from like Australia, but he's from Canada.
That's right.
Dovey's from Australia though, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Don't know too much more about how they originated or anything like that, but
they just spawned in.
Fan. Yeah, they just spawned in.
They're NPCs in the skate park, but they got away and they got real good.
I don't know about NPCs. They seem like main characters.
They're main characters now, dude. They started as NPCs and then they kept getting better.
Yeah, man.
All right, all time, Brock. Let's hear it.
All time.
Yeah.
Got to put Ed up first.
Nice.
Ed up first. Tom White close in tow. And I'm speaking on my generation here, listeners. Like this is the people that for all time for me, not dating all the way back to pre my existence. But
Matt Hoffman and Dave Mirra are great. Okay.
Yes, right. Yes. Respect, spotlight. We love them.
Yeah.
But for me, Ed and Tom encompass street riding, you know, like just from the antics to the riding that they were doing at the time, just iconic to me, you know? And as far as trying to get a little bit kind of across the board, Mikey comes to mind, Mike Aiken.
Yep.
You know, as far as like a trail rider that was doing some really unique stuff as I was coming up as a rider. I had his frame.
Nice.
Yes, I had the Aiken frame. So obviously he was one. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm just literally naming all fit riders from that era.
Yeah. Well, they had the goated team, man.
Dude, was goated for sure. And then again, for me, I'm just going to keep plucking away at the same list. Chase.
Nice.
Chase
yeah,
Hawk.
Keep it fit. Boom.
Yeah. I mean, you know, shout out to those dudes, because as a young up and coming rider, like those dudes and their parts they were putting out just had a lot of influence on me in both regards. You know, like I would watch their entire videos and be like, damn, that's so sick, like what Ed and Tom are doing. But then like watching the way like Chase flows and Mikey flows, and you know, because it's different, right? Like Mikey was doing these crazy like 3 look back to table combos and
landing nose heavy. Like they were breaking that down with him on Unclicked, and I was like, dude, that is what it is. He's landing front tire first on dirt jumps, which is incredible.
Yeah. And then, you know, the way Chase was flowing, you know, like I had you know, magazine ripping out magazine pages of like Chase doing like 3 tucks, on my wall as a kid and being like, I want a 3 tuck like that, so.
As soon as you said Chase Hawk, the song started playing in my
Swan,
head. Yeah, dude.
the sword. Exactly, and I mean, we're not that far apart in age. So, like that was also something that was probably like super inspiring to you.
Over and over again, I would watch those videos, man.
So yeah, that would be definitely we say all time, but we're talking about like my all time span of my life as a rider. So
what do we call that? Is that even, we're post mid school? Now we're like not new school. What the hell are we, dude?
We're like Gen Z school.
2010s, 2008 to 2006 was like when I started watching BMX videos, and that's from then on is, I don't know what to call it. Whatever. Yeah. Mid-new. Well, shit, man. I think we talked about it all, didn't we?
I think we covered a lot, man.
Yeah.
That was
very nice to talk to you.
Fuck yeah, it was great. It was great to catch up and to even have this opportunity to be on this podcast with you. I know we were trying to get it done over time, but I just felt like during the time that we were trying to do it, I was still in the midst of working on stuff. So now that we're here, it's nice to finally kind of show light on what exactly I was working on during those
It was meant to be done today. That's the day
right.
that it was meant to happen,
It's perfect, man. Well, yeah, shout out to you for putting this on. I'm a KANODE Nose listener through and through. I love listening to these things and listening to people nerd out on BMX. It's something I enjoy a lot.
That's awesome. I might be self-conscious now knowing that Broc Raiford listens to the show, but we will carry on, dude.
I'm just another guy, dude. I'm just another rider hanging out with you at the session.
What's your middle name?
Ryan.
Broc Ryan Raiford listens to the show, man.
It's my dad's first name.
Shout out. Oh, you know what I did want to ask that I didn't is, what are your parents like?
Both super supportive, man. From the jump, my dad obviously rides BMX and rides motocross and skateboards and stuff. So him and I have always been super close because we had that connection through the things that we like.
Yeah.
And my mom, just being the supportive parent that she is, she just wanted me to get through school, make good grades. And as long as I was doing that, she was right there with us at all the events, cheering me on. Obviously she didn't have the understanding that my dad did, but it was still cool to have her there and just sort of travel around as a family. And, I'm super grateful to have had their support from a young age, because I understand that not everybody has that opportunity. And it's something that I definitely got to, pitch back to them, is that I'm so grateful that they were able to do that for me as a young rider, because I believe it really gave me some opportunities that otherwise I wouldn't have been able to have growing up.
Yeah. And I was listening to your Unclicked from 2019, and you're just so nice and respectful and thoughtful. So I was like, I wonder what his parents are like. They must be nice and thoughtful and respectful and good people too. So
100%. I mean, between the both of them, they, that's how they raised me, was to be respectful to others first and foremost, no matter what's at stake, is to have manners, be respectful, show kindness always. And I'm very, very thankful for that, because it's allowed me to connect with a lot of people, and not be an asshole and have people want to run away from me or not hang out. It's, Dude, actually allowed me to chop it up and have some friends.
With how good you are, you could be an asshole,
Never. Actually,
if you wanted to be,
Yeah.
But good job, Mom and Dad. You raised Broc right. That's fine.
Let me see if my dad's here right now. So
nice.
My dad, little sister, my little sister's friend are all in town, or my dad lives here, but like my little sister's in town visiting right now. So they're actually kicking it. We're about to go spend some time after here, but let me see if he's here. I'll see if I can get him in to come.
Hell yeah, let's go. Let's see Ryan.
Dad? No.
Nope. Oh well, he'll catch it on the replay. Hi Ryan.
Nope, they're out. They must have got hungry.
They're like, this podcast has gone on long enough, dude.
That's right.
You said an hour. It's been 3.
Yeah, that's right. No, I gave them 2. I was like, maybe 2, but my bad, listeners. I talk a lot, and I was excited to talk to Bobby. So
fuck yeah, it's good to catch up.
I appreciate any of you if you're still here listening. It means a lot to me, and I'm sure Bobby too.
Yes, sir. All right. Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Goodbye. Hey, that's enough. You've reached the end of the video, man. That was a long one, huh? I hope you have a good week. Goodbye. Like and subscribe. Why are you still here? Anything else? What do you want to talk about now? All right, that's enough.